Okay, now you know what old man Ichabod looks like. Here comes my photo.
And we're live.
Mhm.
Hey, everybody.
Mhm.
Thanks for joining us today. We've got another special edition of these community Q&As where we've got a whole panel of lovely guests from the community. See, today we've got Joel, Schafer, Toni Weel, 3C, Kazzrie, Christy Bassett, Claudia Seifert, and Ichabod. So yeah, we're really excited to have all these beautiful folks here today. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Happy
so
to
just
be here. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So just the idea with these is just to kind of give more yeah, give more faces to names. You know, we often communicate in chats and have a lot of people scrolling through, but we wanted to kind of give a little bit more exposure and see some lovely faces and hear some voices. So that's kind of the idea with this. And just a quick note, in order to, I was kind of figuring out how to contact a lot of people for the past couple shows, and I realized I don't have a way to contact a lot of people, especially those who are only in YouTube, as far as I know. So what I did is I made a little form to fill out, and you can fill this out. It's linked in the top of the show notes. If you'd like to jump on the show in the future, we're going to have these bi-weekly. So just make sure to fill out that form, and then I'll grab your email and let me know what names you usually go by in chats and things like that. And so that way I can start a proper queue to get people on the show. So yeah, just wanted to say that real quickly. But yeah, so I know today Toni's just got a limited amount of time, and she's actually I believe you've already got some questions from people to go ahead and answer. Toni's just a wealth of health related knowledge. And so she's going to kind of take the floor for a second and answer some health related questions from people on this call, and maybe even some from the chat if we have time as well. So Toni, I'll kind of just let you take it away. I don't know if you already have questions lined up for you to answer, or what you were thinking.
I had some questions that people in the Freaksense group on Facebook were asking,
Great.
but I would love to hear the questions from the group here now. So
Okay.
let's start there first. I'm curious.
Yeah, so just starting out, who's got a question for Toni? Who's got a health related question? She's very much into yeah, anything health related. Like I love having access to her to be able to ask these sort of questions. So does anyone on this call have any sort of health related things they're working on, or anything in iridology, or anything on detox, anything in that nature?
All healthy people.
I have a question regarding somebody who's trying to work out their Lyme's, parasites, and Candida, and are being told that they need meat, and they're not able to make that transition because of their adrenals. They're drinking bone broth and stuff, and then they're doing a parasite cleanse, and it just sounds dangerous and leads to a health crisis, I assume, without the proper guidance. And I guess my question is there somebody's really close to being willing to hear it differently, I think. What you might recommend for something that is not too confronting and gentle enough to start to bring them around a source of information that would maybe give them a better, true, accurate portrayal of what can happen. And because when somebody's underweight, they're just terrified of how much weight they can lose, and they're being told that it's too dangerous to fast and things like this. And I just don't know how to begin softly so that I don't scare them away.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. The thing is, every healing in every so-called disease or whatever, the name that they gave to a symptom, it always starts with changing the diet. And it happens that when you start on well, call it a raw food diet with mostly fruit, you will lose weight. But you only lose so much weight as your body can handle. And once you are really into the detox and you get rid of the Lyme, your weight will come back. So there is no easy step or an easy oh, you take an herb or you take this pill, or you only fruit is the only thing that helps. And you don't need to go in a fast to detox. You can live on fruit and some green leafy veggies to heal the body. It's not always just a fast.
Okay, wonderful.
And what I do with people is I have them fill out a health questionnaire. And it is like a self-assessment form. And when they fill it out, they can already see what the weaknesses are in their body. So we don't do any treatment. It's not like you need to take this herb for that symptom. It all starts with diet. It's always diet first. There's no other way to heal. It doesn't matter if you add what is it? Hey, I'm missing a word today. Supplements. If you add supplements to it, it won't help you heal. So it is just the diet. It doesn't matter if it's candida, if it's a fungus, if it is Lyme, if it is cancer. Everything started with high acidity in the body that you have to heal. So when you go back to that form, it shows you exactly what is related to your thyroid, what is related to the parathyroid, to the adrenals, which is, I think that everybody has weak adrenals nowadays, but our diet over the years has been so bad. And you can see questions related to the pancreas, to skin, liver, gallbladder, lymphatic system, very important, and to the kidneys. So that is where all the healing, the work starts, by realizing what's going on in your body, getting a grasp of what is, how you can control it, how you can be control of whatever is going on. Not a doctor, anything outside. It's just you. You are always in control.
Thank you so much.
That probably gave you more questions than it solved, but the person, your friend, I mean, they are free to connect with me, and I'll send them an questionnaire. You can fill it out, and we can go over it, and I can answer whatever question she or he has to go to the next step. Because there are always a ton of questions. So I always schedule an hour to 2 hours to go over everything and get somebody going.
Wonderful. Thank you, Toni. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And great, and a reminder to everyone that what we're supposed to be eating is raw fruit predominantly, and when you do so, that puts you back home, and ultimately you get to a point where you're just juicing, because that is the pure essence of what you need, and you're taking the pulp away. But for right now, in transition diets, the pulp is one of your best friends, because the pulp acts as a cleaner inside of you. Colleen calls it like the brush, and it's kind of scrubbing the insides out, because you cannot even begin to imagine what the intestinal walls or your colon looks like with all of that meat, dairy, and eggs in there. It doesn't want to come out. And then this is what invites all the parasites within you. So then when somebody says, what I'm transitioning, I should, I'm cleansing, I should eat meat or something, That's crazy. That's insane, because that's putting the parasites right back in. So you're doing all of this to get the parasites out, and then you're putting the parasites right back in. So right now, fruits and vegetables are very good for you, because there's a lot of pulp in vegetables, and smoothies are great at this time as well, because smoothies have lots of pulp in them, and the pulp is acting, it's fiber, and the fiber is flushing you, and that's what you need right now, is to be flushed. You just have to drain that shit out of you. And there in the beginning, when you drop so much weight, it can be alarming to see yourself and the rapid transition that's taking place. If you want to control that, just add avocados to your diet. They're so good for you, and avocado will put the weight right back on you, but it's good weight.
That was one of my questions, Toni. Is avocado a fruit?
Yeah, it is a veggie fruit. The thing is only that it is so addictive. And I'm guilty. I'm addicted to it, and I cannot handle them. Not in the sense that I get any stomach pain or that I get problems with bowels, but I'm healing severe arthritis. If I eat avocados, because of the high fat, and I only need to eat them, on one day, and then the next day I have severe pain. So if you want to slow down, absolutely, with weight loss, and you need to slow down the detox, eat half an avocado. But how can you not make it into a habit if it's so addictive?
Well,
so as great as they are, you have to remember the high fat. That's not always good.
Another
within moderation, for sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to add the other addiction that comes with eating avocados is salt, because when you want, for me at least, when I eat avocados, I cannot enjoy them really without at least some salt and some pepper, and the salt has always kind of gotten me into this cycle that brings me down back to more veggies and more savory and more this and that, and the salt is so addictive. I give a little bit in, and more it gets more and more, and it's so difficult to keep it controlled and keep it in balance. So yeah, that's it's a really challenging endeavor with adding those foods.
So let me respond to that, Claudia. Everything that you're saying is, I think, what virtually everybody finds with salt. And there are good salts, and then there are horrific salts. So for example, table salt is designed to kill you from the inside out. So you have to cut it out. The problem with table salt, it's in all processed foods. It's what they make processed foods out of. So when that's why a vegan diet doesn't work, and people, because you're making vegan pancakes. What?
Or cheesecake.
Vegan cheesecake and vegan, and all of these artificial foods are all built in and around table salt, and it's just has the most horrific things, including ground up glass in it. So they're trying to kill you. It's a war, and you have to take this deadly seriously. And with your food, if you're buying from a grocery store and everything else, bless it. You have all the power of God and Jesus within you. You do, and you can heal 7 years of Kabbalistic satanity with regard to a mango in seconds by blessing it. So we hold the power, but you have to. It's a war, and you have to take control of the food you eat. So with salt, the thing with salt, what Claudia was saying is that it's very tempting, and then it draws you back it draws you down, because salt is the root of the earth. Salt is the Dead Sea. So, and again, in and of itself, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's evil, but it's the Dead Sea. So that's your sacrum, and then at the root of your sacrum is the Muladhara root chakra, okay? That's not where you want to be. And then if you stay there long enough, we turn into pillars of salt. like Lot's wife, and we're not meant to be stuck in Sodom and Gomorrah. We're supposed to get to the mountaintop. Lot, take your family to the mountaintop. And the wife turns back. She said, I just can't leave Sodom and Gomorrah. So she turned into a pillar of salt. She's rooted into savory foods, into you know, heavy, you know, dairy and things like that. So that's the problem with salt. It draws you back in. You want out. It pulls you back into hell, and you want out. And so, you know, an avocado can do that as well. But what I was going to respond also then to Toni is, remember, it's a journey, it's a path. And remember, all of this is done for you. So like, where do you find the strength of will to not overgorge on anything, even avocados? Well, you get it in melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine, which is here, and here. And that's the third ventricle of your brain. Those are the three wise men from the East bringing presents to the baby Jesus. And this is what regulates everything. It's just your entire experience is done for you. All you have to do is get out of its way. Be an artist. Just go and paint. Don't think about anything. Don't worry about anything.
So being in a state of love with all of those sacred secretions versus being depressed, right? When I'm depressed, or when I used to be depressed, I just wanted to feed that depression, and I just chose the worst foods. But yeah,
because misery loves company, right? So you always make the wrong choices in misery and in despair. So so again, really key is that as you progress. So in the beginning, a lot of people, you're all looking at transitional diets. That's great. That's fine. My way is is fruit now and nothing else, and that's just the way it is. But that's just me. It's different for everybody, and there's a right way that's very unique to you. You just need to find that way, because it is a journey, and you're going to get there. If you've started it, you'll get there. So, but what I wanted to just share with everyone is that as you progress, and as you take away these toxins inside of you, and as you just reduce everything down to just juicing and giving yourself the bare necessities, which then is the pure essence of you, then Santa Claus, which again is very real. Your claustrum is just so important. That's why the claustrum is right next door to God in the mercy seat, and they're best friends, because outside of the mother, father, and the child, there's nobody more important than Santa Claus, the claustrum, the sainted claustrum. And he is regulating. He's like Tom Bombadil in The Lord of the Rings in the Old Forest, and he's just regulating. He's regulating the Sea of Galilee, the circuit of the higher mind, the higher essence of you. And if you just let him do his work, get out of his way, then he does every little drop here, half a drop there, and everything works in your favor. And then it's things like serotonin and dopamine, and they reduce your urges. They take all your urges away, and then you don't have the desire to have more avocados at all.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to the salt topic, because that's one thing that I've certainly, those cravings have been pretty strong for me as well. And one thing that I've found is a great transition with that is you can look into juicing or using celery in your food, because they have the natural salt flavor to them that's not nearly as potent as salt is, and what it does to the body. And then you can also look at seaweed like dulse flakes and things like that, because those are a great source of iodine, and they have that sort of natural salty flavor. So that's what I'm planning on using as my sort of transitional salting, to get away from the use of salt in general. So I just wanted to throw
And
that
Justin, really quickly, with seaweed, nothing flushes better than seaweed. So it's a sacred salt because it comes of the mother. So it does exactly what you said. And then seaweed, oh wow, does it ever flush you and flush you clean? So it's great.
Yeah, I would like to add something to the salt stuff. It is like, look at all the foods that require salt to be, palatable. And they're not meant to be eaten. in a way. And fruit does not need any salt. And once you eat all fruit, you don't even have cravings for salt anymore. 2 days, 3 days maybe, and there's no need for adding salt. But I do add some dulse to my smoothies.
I think we just have to retrain ourselves to enjoy the foods as they are, without seasoning, without all these extra things. And it's just such you got just so accustomed and used to eating those foods with these seasonings. So it's kind of an untraining and undoing of those old habits. And as for me, I know that I was addicted to salt, because also I think that the connection with the adrenals, that salt is very stimulating in a way as well. So if your adrenals are blown out or really weak, then the salt and the seasoning can kind of, stimulate those glands as well. And it gives you like maybe a little energy boost in some way. So I think it's just a process to kind of, getting away of those old habits and addictions in a way, and cravings. So I'm sure an avocado can just taste as good as just like that without any salt on it, or just a little sprinkle of dulse. I think that's a great alternative. Yeah. So, and I also heard Remembrance. Actually, Eugene mentioned that when we met yesterday, that there is a cell salt or some kind of product that he uses so that it contains all cell salts. I don't know what it's called, but there is something like that can be used as well. You can find out.
And again, really quickly, everyone, everything works commonsensically, and everything works above, below, out there, within you. It all works the same. So, salt, again, is a savory that is of the earth. And so it has greater benefits for organs and parts of your system that are lower in you. Salt has no place up here. It's only the fruits from the high trees. You have to reach up really high to get a fruit, and then it goes here. This is the essence of you. This is what you need to become the shepherd of. You're shepherding this. This is what the Bible teaches. It isn't really teaching much of anything from there down. It's all teaching here, and in particular, it's teaching you right here, which is Solomon's temple, the Ark of the Covenant, and here's the cup of Christ right here. And that's all what the New Testament teaches, is this higher mind. And those are fruits which grow high up in trees, and you have to get high to reach the highness of the fruit. And that's it.
A lemon or a lime would be good on avocado.
Yes.
There is a question that comes up a lot. It is about teeth health, mouth health. And I know, Charlie, you have spoken about that a lot too. And I keep getting the questions about this, because people always think that if you eat fruit, then your teeth are gonna rot. And I love to hear what you have to say about it again. So many people are asking this.
Well, again, really simply, you're a frugivore. So that, and what Jesus Christ is, and what Jesus Christ teaches, is alkalinity. He's the perfect alkaline man, and that's how you ascend to heaven upon earth. Is you have to become purely alkaline of the mind and of the body. And so alkalinity is purity, and it is a balance, it is a harmony as well. But alkalinity is a state of grace. Acidity is a state of death, and it's your choice. But if you put battery acid on your teeth, you're going to get caves, or what they call cavities. And I don't even have to really talk much about it. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of videos of people giving you firsthand examples and experiences of how they've healed cavity bridge work, just the worst things inside of their mouth and sometimes they don't really even understand how they're achieving it, but everything that they're doing is just alkaline. So your teeth, when you're born with 1,000 years of life. What you choose to do with that 1,000 years is entirely up to you. If you want to die at 60 and think that that's a long life or something, I mean, have your fantasies. But you're gifted 1,000 years. So your teeth are good for at least 1,000 years. So all your teeth require is alkalinity. There's nothing more alkaline than fruit juice. So, so there's sugar and then there's sugar. And fructose or glucose is the pure sugar. So you wouldn't even call it sugar. It's just the river of life. And the river of life heals all. And we just have to flow in unison with the river of life. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. When you eat acidic foods, when you eat meat, dairy, when you kill animals, you're swimming upstream. Why are you constantly swimming upstream and making Santa Claus be a first responder at the 9/11 tragedy instead of Tom Bombadil just doing a drop here, there, and everywhere around the circuit of the old forest? That's what you want to do. Get out of the brilliance of your own way. God has created you in absolute perfection because you're the pinnacle of his creation. Get out of your way. And the best way to get out of your way is to stop thinking. We get into trouble when we think, and then we get into more trouble when we think. And then we try to come up with thinking solutions. We get into worse trouble and worse trouble and worse trouble to become comatose. And then when we're in a state of comatose, then God heals all. No matter how bad things are within you, if you can do 72 hours of stillness and silence, if you can do 72 hours of fasting, if you can do 72 hours of anything that is alkaline, you'll heal yourself. Because that's the miracle that God gives all of us. It's all in threes. Go inside the tomb. What is Jesus saying? This is what. Why do you think that's what Jesus killed in Jerusalem? And that was the message that Jesus was teaching at the time, was the 3 days. Of course I am the Son of God, because I can go inside my tomb, and in 3 days I can create an entire new universe. I can create an entire new reality in 3 days inside my tomb. Kill him and kill him now. Kill him good and kill him now, because they don't want you knowing that. That's the biggest secret of all, is this miracle of the number 3, Father, Mother, Child. And that's the 72.
So it's like a med bed.
It is, and that's all that a med bed is just doing, is just matching the frequencies that are naturally in you. It puts you in balance, and that's all it's doing. It's just drawing on the essence of you inside, and that's all it can do. And then if you start eating meat, dairy, and eggs, you'll get sick again, and you'll need to go back to the med bed forever and ever and ever if you keep this madness up. So that's what Jesus said. That's what Jesus taught, is you just the 72 hours, the miracle of the 3 days. And you can heal anything, the worst cancer in 3 days. If you have the constitution to be able to do that, many people in cancer, they are so defeated here. Because again, when does a cancer patient really die? The moment that a doctor says to them, you have cancer, they're almost there. They're teetering on the brink of life and death, and they're a fraction from death in that moment. And then if he says we've done everything and there's nothing we can do, and you believe that, it's over. It's just a matter of time. It's over. It's here. It's all here. It's all here. It's what you believe, and when you believe, that's the lie. And that's why you have to know thyself, right? And Miguel knows that. That's why it's Miguel. He denied. It's know thyself. Know thyself. It's the truth. It's the way. It is absolutely the way. You have to know thyself. And then you have power. You have strength. And that's where that inner core within you rises up in great power, is when you know something. And so you go to a doctor, I mean, holy cow, their curriculum in universities is spoon-fed to them by these demonic corporations. That's all they know. It's brutal. It's just out there is a lie, in here is the truth, and the 72 hours can correct anything.
And
Alkalinity.
and it's not only the doctors, it's also the dentist. I mean, we have been so indoctrinated with how we have to take care of our teeth that I think our teeth got just worse. And I stopped brushing my teeth when I realized there was nothing to brush. I mean, my teeth were clean because of my fruit diet. And that is actually an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Josh even did an experiment where he didn't brush his teeth for 6 months and switched his mouth with orange juice every day, and just to see what would happen. And his teeth were healthier than ever. So it has nothing to do, I mean, orange juice in and of itself is acidic. So it has nothing to do with the acidity of the juice itself. It's all about the alkalinity when it goes into our body. So that's a perfect example. And I would just say on the 72-hour thing, the 3-day thing, I would kind of expand on that a little bit. I think some of us are a bit can be a bit need to do a little bit more extensive detox. So I would expand on that you'd probably need 3 moots to really get clean and really get and take care of that, as far as really getting into that. 72 hours is going to give you a wonderful reset and get you back on that sort of even plane. But those of you who are looking to heal some sort of longer term chronic illnesses, give yourself 3 months. 3 months of a frugivore diet, and something of that nature, and you can really do miracles. So yeah, it is the way. I mean, this is the way. It's truly the way, and it's the cure for everything. There's no need for doctors. There's no need for supplements. There's no need for any conventional medicine. This is healing from the Mother Earth and all that she can provide for us.
I just have a quick question for Toni before she goes in regards to all this. I had my large intestine removed, so I'm just wondering what the impact. So far it's been good, and I mean the juicing's been amazing, and my 5-year-old's pretty much all on fruit now. But I just see a lot of people talking about their bowel movements and everything, and mine's never been normal, so I don't know what is normal with this and what's not. So just wondering if there was any negative, not that there's going to be negative impact, but sort of if she knows much about that.
You need to have, if everything is working good, then you should have a bowel movement within an hour after you ate. So if you eat 3 times a day, then, you have 3 bowel movements a day. And if not, then you have some stagnation there. And it usually has to do with the lymph stagnation. So, and another thing is, a lot of people are severely dehydrated. And once we are on mostly fruit, we feel that we don't need any liquids anymore. We're not thirsty. But the thing is, your gut does need some water. And when you drink, because that's what I started to do when I noticed the problem is to drink within my 1 liter juice that I drink 3 times a day. Within it, within those time frames, I drank 2-3 glasses of water, and then bowel movements are fine again. So that is one thing that you can look at. And there are some herbs that can help a little to get it moving a little.
Oh, I'm not stuck or anything. It's probably the opposite. And I mean, I don't eat 3 meals a day. I just drink juice whenever I feel like it, and I'm not sure if that's what it's meant to be. But so I just didn't know, if I had to do anything extra as apart from. Not.
No, not if you're feeling good, you don't feel bloating, you don't have cramps, and you're doing great. Why worry?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
not,
I feel
everybody is different.
Yeah, exactly. From what they told me, you know, years ago when this happened, it really scared me more afterwards with all the information coming to me, and this was going to happen and this was going to happen. It was like, whoa. And you know, being on this journey, it's just, I just threw all that in the bin.
Yeah, it's all about being in control about your body. Understand
Yeah.
the signals in your body, the symptoms, and you go from there. It doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't even matter what I say, because I go from my experiences and what I learned. But with listening to other people, it's like, oh, okay, for them it works like that. And if you're feeling good, and so we seem to worry about anything and everything, and how you are supposed to do things. And no, we just listen to your body, be in control of it.
That is just the best advice, Christy. It totally is, and it's so true, because each of us are so unique. The difference between us is so very small, but you know, the distance between us is a mystery to us all. We're so close, and yet we're so unique. And so the experience is different for every single one of us. And that's why with Colleen and I, we don't go into a lot of detail about exactly this fruit or that fruit or whatever, because it's different for all of you. You'll know it. This whole process, we've sort of hesitated from saying too much early on in this journey, because we don't want to scare anyone in terms of what this process is like. But the further you go down the path, is straight and narrow. You're find your way, and God to find your way. So, like Toni said, all you need to do is listen to you, and you'll know. Because if you eat something that is not right for you, oh wow, will you ever, it'll give you the most powerful reminder. Sometimes it'll last an hour, sometimes it'll last a day, but you'll get a consequence. And then it's important, and it's righteous to get that consequence, because it teaches us that's not for me. I will remember that, because I do not want to experience that again. And then the further you go, so what ends up happening is that it just very naturally is that you'll find your way, you'll find your path. And for me, the further and further I go, it's just anything that I pull away from, like watermelon or orange juice, some slight little things can happen. If I introduce anything different from the leafy salad with avocado at nighttime, anything different, and my system will just say not right for you.
Like
so,
if I made a potato or something, a sweet potato.
Yeah, I just Colleen still from time to time will like to have those savory foods. I won't go near them, because if I do, there's a powerful consequence to it. So the further you go on this path, what ends up happening is that your diet just becomes simpler and simpler and simpler. There are no additives. There's nothing else that you need. You just find that you go, wow, I'm just having these 3 things, and then it's 2 things, then it's 1 thing. And after a while, you're probably just eating watermelon or just drinking orange juice. And then at a certain point you go, even then there's just something that's not sitting right. I'm not, because I know my body, I know I'm not 100% perfect. And it's like, well, I don't even need food. I can just be focusing more on my diaphragmatic breathing, my Buddha breaths, and I can garner all the nourishment I need from the magnetic electrical ether. I can pull God in and just fill me up and hydrate myself through the Father, through breath. But it's a process. And that's the beauty of this. It's a journey. Everything about this is a journey, so that it never hits you over the head. It's always a ride. There's always a smooth journey along the way. But that's what you'll find, Christy. And so with your bowel movements, you should be having a lot of bowel movements. That's really, really good. The volatility and the number of them will ease as you're cleaning. And if that's the case, it may or may not be the case, but if you find that maybe there's a bit too many or that there's some volatility with it. It just means that you're still in a war inside, and it's still in the tunnels. It's freeing the children. It's freeing the purity and the essence within you. And so there are some consequences to it, but it all settles in. And what you'll find is that like Toni said, you'll just get into a routine of 3 meals, and then, you know, three bowel movements. But the way you're doing it, I just wanted to commend you for that, because again, that's what frugivores are. They don't really sit down to meals. It's one of the last habits that goes from us, because we've been taught breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they're just habits. And with most everything that society teaches, they're bad habits. The best way to eat during the day is to forage when you feel like it. And so to continue intaking during the day, and then stop at night, because this fasting at night is so important. And then the best way to practice prepping yourself for like a 3-day fast, the best way to do that is every morning take another hour before you break the fast with your fruit. And then so it's 7 hours, it's 8 hours, it's 9 hours, it's 12 hours, it's 14 hours, and you're preparing yourself gently for the 72-hour fast. And then, just in sort of response to what Justin was saying earlier about the 72-hour fast, again, it's a process. Some people have the constitution for it, some people don't. But if you do the 72-hour fast, you are magic wanding, cleansing, healing inside of you. And then it's what you do from there. And if you've got those bad habits, then, like Justin said, then it's 2 months and 3 months and 6 months and 9 months. But that's only because you continue to toxify yourself, even if it's in small ways. But that's what happens with your body. And what I kind of wanted to share to everyone, the further you go down this path, any form that is even slightly toxic to you or your system, to the mind or the body, it will shout out. And then you'll go, oh God, does it mean I have to leave? I kind of like that. And it's like, oh God, I better try it. And then you stop ingesting what you think might be causing this slight acidity, and you go, wow, yeah, I kind of like that, but okay, it's gone. and that's just what you do on this journey of your journey, and it's different for everyone, but it's your journey, and that's what you do, and it just gets narrower and narrower and more refined. And that's what you are. You're a refinery, and you are a refinery until you get purely fine, because fine is divine. And they've turned the word fine into a terrible word, but it's one of the greatest words ever created is fine. It's highest of highs. And that's why you are a refinery. And that's why oil has to be refined into gasoline, because it's heavy and it's dirty, and it has to become clean and light. Everything works. It's one story. There's one journey. There's one path. There's one truth. And it all works that way for oil and gas and for food and for us. And it's crazy.
Toni, I've got a question for you. As far as parasite cleanses, do you recommend doing herbal parasite cleanses like Dr. Clark, I know, has a pretty highly reviewed one, or just in general, do you recommend doing parasite cleanses?
I work with Dr. Morse. He has parasite cleanses for the bigger parasites and for the microorganisms like fungus. Yes, I would recommend it, unless you can go on 100% fruit, then those things cannot live in your body. So it's only if you want to speed it up, and it will help. But when you are on all fruit, your body is detoxing and it comes out. They cannot live in an alkaline body.
Yeah, it all goes back to that. It's a simple solution to everything.
It's always so simple. The thing is, now the problems that I hear most, and Charlie just talked about that too. It's like we get to a point that we know what we need, but we have the outside pressure. Now, you know, my husband and I, we both are on the same diet, and so it's easy for us. But then you have friends who want to eat out, or they want to make a potluck, and it makes us sick, so we can't eat it. So we're the weird ones. And I think that is a problem for a lot of people to deal with. And how do you handle that? Because you do get to a point once you have been on all fruit, and Charlie just said it too. If you eat something else, something cooked, you'll pay for it. Your body lets you know, it's like, no, this is not the food that your body needs. And I experienced it after a gluten-free vegan pizza, but it was cooked. And I had 3.5 days of severe kidney pain. Now, a lot of people get scared and they go to the RE, or what is it, ER, and go to a doctor. But I knew what it was and what it was caused by. So, you know, you not make that mistake again. But your life is changing when you get on all fruit. But it's the fruit and the fasting that will heal your body no matter what. And what we have to learn is to deal with the outside pressure. And accept, you know, this is what we do, and the rest doesn't really matter. The pressure shouldn't matter. Family will think that you're totally crazy, and it's like, okay, but I'm getting healthier.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost my whole family because I decided to put my 5-year-old, you know, just purely raw. And I was child abuse, it was everything. And it was like, but honestly, she's just the healthiest, glowing child I've ever seen. And they still can't see it though. You know, it's like, how does she not drink cow's milk? How does she not? And it's like, you're the one that's sick all the time. She's just thriving, and they still can't see it. So, you know, just take yourself out of that environment.
Yes, it is the calcium and the proteins that they keep pressuring on us.
Yeah.
And I get to a point that whatever they tell us that we have to have, it's run the other way.
Absolutely. To the opposite.
It's exactly, yeah, it is exactly what makes us sick. Proteins is absolutely worst one. You know, it's like killing us. And even, you know, careful with plant proteins. People like drink plant protein smoothies every day. It's not helping your health. But, you know, we learn.
Again, everyone, let me stress, Toni, that was brilliant. And protein, too much protein is pure acidity. It's just, you might as well guzzle battery acid, but it's all protein. You got to have protein in your diet and stuff. And one of the little things that you can say to your family to help ease them into your wisdom is you can sort of say to them, it's like, oh yeah, but what you need to know is that fruits and vegetables, there's got so much protein in it. It's like it's the king's source of protein. That's why look at gorillas and elephants and all the biggest creatures on this earth. They're all, you know, they're all plant eaters, and then even the animals that, you know, you eat as meat, they're plant eaters, and you're getting that because all the protein comes from plants. And if you try to tell them that way, you can sometimes not alienate them from calling the police on you for being a maniac. And Marie was just telling us this yesterday. You know, she it was her day to bring food or snacks to the kids at school, and she brought fruit and fruit juice, pure squeezed fruit juice, and the kids were just crazy for it. And the parents are like, "What's wrong with you? And you don't allow your children to eat meat. You're denying the meat. That's wrong." It's just, wow.
Yeah.
They believe that you get life from murder.
And to them, they think you're dangerous because
Yeah.
You might switch.
And at the heart of all of this is that it's their ego, which is the number one parasite that's within you. That's why you have to do this work, because it is a giant tapeworm. It is. And that's why that movie Branded is so important to watch. Most people rail against that movie the first time they see it because it makes them feel so uncomfortable.
It's speaking to your ego.
Because it's speaking to your ego, and it's alive, it's real, and it's a tapeworm. This is a war. These people, these Canaanites who are the Phoenicians, who now portray themselves as the Venetians or the Cabal, they hate you. I cannot stress this enough. They hate you. They know that we are the children of Abel. We know that we are of that bloodline, and they hate us. And it is an all-out war. So like Toni said, whatever they say, run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Best advice.
Yeah. And they smell. I never noticed it until the last couple of months, and it was like, there's that familiar smell again, and I went, oh my gosh, that's what it is. But yeah, that really
Thank you, Christy, for being so strong. Thank you for all the work you have done. Again, I don't know how many people, even within our family, know how essential Christy was to our Facebook pages when they were up. And I think our Facebook pages were the best Facebook pages. We just kicked at the Cabal every single day. And Christy was a huge integral part of that. She's a champion of the children. You're amazing, and Colleen and I have always thought so, and we love you so dearly, and you know, as tough as it is to hear sometimes, there's a family you're born with, but then there's the family that you have a hand in making, and that's the family that you will choose to live with, and you got 1,000 years at the minimum to go ahead and do this, and we're going to be here as rocks for all of you if you need to find a home and to find that real family that will never turn our backs on you ever. We just rally around one another, and we just make things better, not worse. We always ascend, not descend.
When you said the thing about the parents, that just hit home, like, because I've never had a good relationship with my mother, and you know, the first time I heard Marie talk, and I was like, it all just came together, and it's like, it makes perfect sense. So thank you for that, because without those words, I never, ever would have realized it. And now going forward, and, you know, with everyone here, everything just makes complete sense. And it's the feeling, it's not, you know, the environmental, it's what you feel in here that just resonates, and it's perfect. So thank you for that. I've even said to my eldest daughter, you know, I just brought you here. You know, you have to find your own family. And she's 19, but she's on this journey with me too. So yeah, be truthful.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have to go.
Thank you for being here, Toni.
Thank you all for being you and being part of my family. I love you all. And till the next time.
Yeah, I love you so much.
Thank you, Toni.
Please jump on. More and more, Toni, because you're a real catalyst in helping everyone. So please, you don't have to stay for the whole 11-hour shows. But jump in for as long as you're comfortable with, and because we're all the better for it when you do. So thank you, Angel.
Thank you for your gnosis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, and you can find Toni's contact information and links and stuff in the show notes. So if you want to get in touch with her, feel free. All right. So we've got Ichabod and Kazzrie and 3C. Do y'all have any of y'all who haven't spoken yet? Do you have any questions or topics or discussions? We don't have to keep it on health. We can jump into any realm of conversation or anything that's on your mind, anything you want to go over.
Sure, I'll jump in.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Um, thank you both so much, Charlie and Colleen, for all that you're doing, on behalf of the entire community and having me here. And I am so grateful for so many things that you shared, but one of the biggest things is the truth about World War II and Hitler. I was told some of it over 20 years ago when mentors came into my life. And I've been sitting with this information all by myself. There's been all this other stuff that I could connect with people about, but this one here, I mean, talk about, don't ever talk about that to anyone. So like, I just listened to you on Marie Russell's show just today at the replay, and you just riffed for a whole hour on it. It was like, oh my God, like, thank you. And you mentioned, like, I first heard you last summer say something about Hitler was a good guy, and went, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, what, really? Finally, someone is there's like another seed I can follow. And I'm not sure if it was through you or maybe someone commented on that thread or something. And someone said, watch this 12-hour documentary on BitChute called Europa, the Final Battle. I didn't wait. I just jumped. I went right for it. And it was intense. It did take me a few days to get through it because it's so intense and it's so, I mean, so painful to watch. Yeah, it's very graphic, people, if you're going to watch it, especially the first hour or so, it's very graphic. But as they say, the truth will set you free. And it was so, like, last year was so freeing. Like, I struggled with depression my whole life, and 2020 was like this year of just expansion for me, because as much as I was red-pilled a long time ago, like, so much came to light. And because I knew what happened during the war over 20 years ago, and I've been holding this, one of the things that I would love for you to talk about, and you hinted a little bit at it, is the whole Israel connection and Palestine. Like, no, that's another thing that nobody, you don't talk about that. I mean, you cannot talk about that. And I've been to Israel. I have friends in Israel. I met them when I was living in Costa Rica. We were at this retreat together. Then I fell in love with this guy. The next thing I'm on a plane, I'm going to Israel. Like, it wasn't on my radar. And I was in homes of people, like, in Israel. Like, I didn't go to hotels. I was in people's homes. These were beautiful people. So they seem to think that the Palestinians are like their enemies, and they have to be like they're under threat of attack from these people with rocks, and they've just been shoved aside. And it's like, I couldn't, express to my friends in Israel who were hosting me, like, what I thought. And because it seems like they're also brainwashed with the whole, the propaganda they've been taught. So, long introduction to where my thought process is to ask you to please talk about Israel and Palestine, and how it was created and why. And also, will the Palestinians finally receive justice or the freedom that they deserve, like their homeland again? Please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for having the courage to say that. And I was lucky because growing up, my history professor in high school was a gentleman named Wilf Trappler, and he was actually born in Germany and then was raised in Canada. And yeah, he gently suggested some books and things to look at, and that history has largely been written by the victors, and it really opened my eyes to certain things. And then you just find roadblocks every single way, and then and then there's always someone who will speak about the Holocaust or about World War II, and they'll have a bit of a different narrative, and it's like, oh wow, I finally found some. But you'll find that it's just more Rockefeller, Rothschild tricks, and that it's one of these cul-de-sacs that are dead ends and they go nowhere, and it just leaves you by the side of the road, and you're just lost again because it never takes you anywhere. So Colleen and I, we just really felt that it was necessary to just strip away all of the lies for not just our sake, but everybody's sake, and just try and piece everything back together again, holistically, tying everything from the beginning back together again. And that's why for us, everything sort of started out of northern India in the Vedic period, when suddenly there's Buddhism and Hinduism and just all of this just gorgeous righteousness, and because of the very nature of the geography, it just spread to the north and the west, because that was the pass that allowed it to flow into Europe, and then it flowed through Persia, Babylon, into the Holy Land, into the Mediterranean, and up into Europe. And that's how you just see this. And those are the Aryans who obviously became the Tartarians as well. And these are right-brain people. And so we've done so much research on this. And so what is an Aryan is not some genetic blonde hair, blue-eyed race. It is a conscious choice. It's a choice to be of the right brain. It is a choice to be a child of God. That's what an Aryan is. And a Semite, and again, we've done the research on this, literally in the etymological root definition of what a Semite is, it says, as opposed to an Aryan. And they call us anti-Semites, and it's like, yeah, we are, because Semites are the Canaanites of the left brain. Semites are Canaanites.
So it's a mindset.
It is a total mindset. And Aryans are of children of God of the 90% of the right hemisphere. They're the ones that created the Sanskrit, the sacred script. They're the ones that knew all of this energy, this 0 point energy that Tesla talks about, that existed above us, below us, and within us, and that we have to project it outwards. They're the ones that built the pyramids. That's why there's a king's chamber and a queen's chamber, and the optic thalamus in the middle, between them, the master chamber. And that's why they created the capstone. The capstone was your auric field, so it was all golden. And that's why they're on ley lines, because they understood what ley lines are for. And this thousandfold transmission, that's what ley lines do, just like crossing the blood-brain barrier with the chrism oil and raising the chrism oil home through the third ventricle, or through the fourth ventricle, the path that is straight and narrow, into the third ventricle, the inner essence of you. And it's a thousandfold charge, and that's what ley lines do. So they take, so you're in meditation inside, complete utter stillness and silence, connection to God, and then you radiate that magnetic power up to the capstone, which then sends that outwards in a 360-degree radial pattern. And then because it's on a ley line, it goes boom. And it goes 1,000-fold miles an hour in every single direction, with no child left behind, because it's a radial pattern. And that's how this all works. And so in the Bible, it tells you what a Jew is. In Romans and Old Testament, New Testament, it tells you what a Jew is. A Jew is one who seeks for God inwardly.
So we love Jews.
Yeah, and circumcision, we love Jews. We are absolutely Jews. And then all of these beautiful people in Israel that have been preyed upon by the wolves of Times Square. The wolves of Times Square are the Phoenicians, are the pirates. And they have used these people.
And there are Jewish people who do seek God from within. So they're really Jewish people.
That's right.
But then there's another group that don't. And they still call themselves Jewish. That's right.
And then they've made an entire religion out of thin air, just like their money. Everything they do, they've made it up out of thin air, and they say it's the oldest, it's the most revered book, and it's the most revered religion, and it's the most revered language. Notice how it always goes, it's the opposite direction of Aryan, and their wheels go the opposite direction of righteousness. Everything is backwards. Everything is backwards. Everything is made out of thin air with these people. And so there's a group of Polish people, of German people, of Austrian and Czechoslovakian, or Czech and Slovakian, and Bulgarian and Hungarian and Russian, and all of these beautiful people, and they have been convinced that they're Jews, and that's why they created Woody Allen, because it's very important for Woody Allen to come along and go, this is what you act like, this is what you look like, this is what you dress like, this is what you talk about, this is what you are. And so you might think that that's a big leap to say, but it isn't. This is all so new. This is all so new. Israel as a nation state, 1947, and this is all so new. So Woody Allen comes along and says that you're a little neurotic person, and you speak like this, and you talk like this, and you act like this. They're showing you. They're Seinfeld, just written and acted by demonic evil souls, and they're telling these people that you're a Jew, you talk like this, you look like this, you act like this, you dress like this. It's incredible. It's incredible. All of what they've done, you have to tip your hat to everything that they've done, and it's so upside down, it's so stupid, it's so ridiculous, it's such a lie, and yet virtually all of us fell for it, all of us. And that's because they attacked us from the moment we're born, and that's not fair. None of this is fair. So none of us should feel bad about falling for any of this, because they attack you from the moment you're born, and that's sick, and that's disease. And the very basis to the Maritime Admiralty law system is sick beyond description. That you're left, your essence, your true self is left in your mother's birthing canal, and then they harvest you as a two-dimensional form on a piece of paper, and then they own you. And then, like I said, don't doubt me for a second that your birthing certificate stocks are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. They are, because it's all a game. There's that episode I was saying to everyone on Star Trek, the original Star Trek series. If you still haven't seen it, watch it. It's called The Gamesters of Triskelion. And Kirk gets pulled across the galaxy, and he's on a prison planet, and there's these three men, and they no longer they don't even want their bodies. They've long ago lost their bodies, and so they're just three brains. They're just three brains, and on a flat circle, a flat plane with a dome over top, showing you in plain sight, that it's the flat Earth, a level Earth with the dominion of the firmament, and all they do in their left brains is think, and they just bet against one another. So they take these human slaves, and then they force them to kill each other, and then they bet on them, and that's what your life is. As hard as that is to hear, that's largely how your life is played out, because the people who own you and the people who control your birthing certificate stock have been betting on you to fail. And so they do everything to force you. So when you get divorced, somebody won a huge bet. When you get cancer, when you die before 50, somebody made a ton of money. And that's what it is. It's just a sick game to these monsters. Who are these people? They are the Canaanites, who are the Phoenicians, who are the Venetians, and they're the ones who created this Zionistic organization for world Jewry. And this is who Hitler fought against. This is who Hitler said was his enemy. And Hitler powerfully told you that these are the same people that are the Freemasons. And that's why Hitler outlawed Freemasonry, shut down every single Freemason temple, and then created a singular museum to allow Germans to go in and to see what these Freemason temples look like, what was taught in there, what's on the walls, and they showed a Freemason Bible and what's being said in there. And so this is our reality. So you have a nation state of Israel in the Holy Land. No land can be owned. And the Holy Land is a place of pilgrimage. It's where we all need to go every 7 years to be able to replenish, recharge the battery or the cells within us. Every 7 years, we make a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and we go up to the Mount of Olives, and we go in. That's why Jesus was always saying, they went up to the Mount of Olives, and they went into the Mount of Olives, because that's meditation upon high, which is the Mount of Olives. And this is where we go, and then every single cell in our body is healed with Christ consciousness in the Holy Land. But you can't go there, and who in their right mind would want to go to the Holy Land, because it's always at war. And they've defeated the Palestinians 1,000,000 times over, but the war never is over, and it never ends, right? I mean, they're literally throwing rocks. They're literally throwing rocks at their depleted uranium shells, and they're the bad people and stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. So a Jew is only a mindset. A Jew is an Aryan. A Jew is an Aryan. And a Semite is the opposite, as by its etymological root definition. A Semite is as opposed to an Aryan. And an Aryan is a child of God who seeks God in every single moment. And so what they've done is they've created a world of the nation state of Israel with a Jewish people, and they're not Jews. There's no such thing as a genetic race, a genetic group of Jews. There can't be. This is the great lie, is genetics. Genetics plays almost no role in our lives, and it's certainly in the living of our lives, it plays virtually no role whatsoever. Genetics, your genes are a blueprint of what you look like, but you can change that, by the way, because your epigenetical experiences within the dome, which is, because the dome out there, we live on a level plane with a dome above us, and that's your sphenoid bone inside your head. And then you see this is the dome. That's a dome shape, and there's a round bone that goes all the way around inside your head. That's completely flat, completely level. And so your living out there is affecting your living in here. Nobody can deny that. You absolutely know that. Each and every one of you know that. You go out there and you have a bad day, and you come home and it's terror in here, in your dominion. So here's the whole trick. You live from here, which is a Jew. You live from here and you project outwards. You see how perfect this is with Hollywood and why they created Hollywood? Because you're the projector. You're the projector. You're the director. You're the producer. You're the screenwriter, and you're the actor. That's why Roger Hodgson, in that incredible song, if everyone was listening, why are you seeking to get your wisdom from a secondhand Hollywood actor? You're the actor. Is that me? Is that me, God? Is all of this for me, God? It's totally for you, my child. I love you more than anything. Please come and see me. Please come and visit me. Please come and connect with me. It's all I want. I've created each and every one of you, and I love each and every one of you more than life itself. Please just cast thy net to the right and come and be with me. And everything they do, like Michael Corleone said in Godfather 3, every time I think I'm away from these, they pull me back into their world, because these demons, these Semites, these Canaanites won't let us go. Because if they do, it's game over for them. Because once we get back to being the projector, we go back. And see, Hollywood is not a bad name. just like evergreen, that's why you know their downfall will be through symbolism. This evergreen situation in the Suez Canal, which came up from the Red Sea, now they're in Great Bitter Lake, and it's an Ever Given on an evergreen ship, and they're transporting children in hyperbaric chambers to harvest them and stuff. Evergreen is the highest word. That's what you have to become, is the pine tree. Evergreen. The coniferous tree, the conifer. That's the whole point of life. And so they've demonized evergreen now. It's just a terrible. No, it isn't. It's the best. Holly is magic. Holly is a magic wood. Hollywood is magic. They just cast black magic, and they've turned Hollywood into a horrible word, horrible thing. But it isn't. It isn't. And that's what Semites do, because they don't think, they pervert. The Aryans, Jews come up with everything. Because where do the great artists all create from? They're lost in their right brains. They're just airy-fairy people, you know. I tell them to clean up, and they don't even hear me. That's right. They're just so far gone, right? You watch, you know, again, Greg Allman for the Allman Brothers play guitar. He's so far gone out of his body. He's not even close to physicality when he's playing the guitar. He's just so far gone. And that's where you need to be. And that's where we all create, is when we connect to God and we let go, and then we astral travel, and then there's our body on stage doing these, you know, different riffs and up and down the fretboard and stuff. But your essence is so far gone because you're seeking, as Frank Zappa said, you're seeking for the perfect note in the perfect moment. You can only do that.
Well, the reality would be you're in both worlds
yeah,
at the same time.
That's right, because you have to come back. You have to come back and become the bodhisattva upon the middle plane, the middle way, and then you teach it. But so, again, Israel is complete fakery and it's devilry. That doesn't mean that the people living there aren't beautiful children of God. They absolutely are. But they have been.
Well, and many have a choice to make.
They do. They really do.
As we all do. We
Yeah.
have a choice to make.
Yeah. And just define yourself as children of God, not the opposite. And this is, you know, it's hard to hear, but I've been really teaching this a lot lately because I think people are ready to hear this now. And that is this, that the world is so simple, it's so black and white, that you're either with God or you're without. And in Latin, the word for without is sin. And when you look at the etymological root of con, which is with, and sin, which is without, it's with God and without God. That's literally the etymological root of con and sin, is with and without God. And when you're without God, you're a Satanist. When you're without God, you're demonic. And when you're without Jesus Christ, you're a Satanist. And that's just the way it is. That's why the Essenes were such a tough group of people, and they were not the cheeriest group, and they took all of this so seriously, and the Gnostics the same way, and that's why Jesus, this is the thing, it was so beautiful to see Justin and Marie go through this this natural growth and progression as we went through the book of Matthew, to see that, wait a minute, this is not the Jesus Christ that I've been told about and you know, grew up with, this feeble, pathetic person that's just going, it's all good, you know, kill and murder, it's all just totally good, just call out my name and I'll heal everything for you. No, not at all, not at all. Jesus was tough as nails. That's why they had to nail him to a cross, because he's tough as nails. And they got rid of Jesus Christ because he told the highest truth, which is that you will do greater things than I if you do the work. And that work is casting thy net to the right. So you just see it. You just see it everywhere. So what is a Jew is Jesus Christ. And if you're not Jesus Christ, then you're a Satanist. And it's that simple. No, come on, I'm not eating kids. You eat veal? That's a baby cow. And that's a slippery slope. And you don't think you're eating kids? Have you ever eaten at McDonald's? Have you ever eaten at Wendy's? Have you ever eaten at Burger King? And you've ever eaten at, what are some of those fast food
We have
Mexican
no idea
places?
what they put in hot dogs. You have no idea what they put in hamburger meat. We don't. We have no idea. We trust them implicitly when we go to the market and we purchase something. So
when you eat animals, I guarantee you, everyone who's eaten ground hot dogs or deli meats or ground beef, if you've eaten those, you've eaten children. Guarantee it. And that's what they do, because they want you to be like them. And if they're doing it, they want you to do it. And so that's why you're finding all this stuff about McDonald's. And then, you know, people are, like I said, just do your research on Ray Kroc. And then somebody said, wow, I just read some stuff on Ray Kroc, and he didn't even hide the fact that he was a Satanist and that the Church of Satan was the greatest thing in the world. And he's got the biggest restaurant chain in the entire world, and it's not a problem. Not a problem. A man who disavows God and was one of the people trying to nail Jesus to a cross, and he's like the biggest food chain in the world. It's not a problem. No, I don't see anything bad coming out of this. What? What? I was eating humans? Wow. Soylent Green, hey? So
the Palestinians.
Yeah, so the Palestine, Trump is all over this. Trump is all over this. He's the peace whisperer because he has to be. That's right, and that's why he's made really good friends with Modi in India, because Modi in India is going to be his real sort of key person in the Far East to be able to create peace in the Central and Far East is going to be a key, and it'll all run through India. Why? Why? Because the Aryans came out of India. It all comes out of these magical mountains, the Himalayas, which are the highest, the Hindu Kush in the Himalayas, the highest mountains. It's like, does that mean anything? They're the closest to God. They're the closest to God, those mountains. Why do you think it's the most enlightened? That's where enlightenment started on Earth, was in the foothills of the Himalayan mountains, right? It's just all dots that you just need to piece together. So all these peace treaties that Trump is doing around Israel and Palestine will complete, and all that will be left is Palestine. And then it'll just be, well, of course we need to make a deal because everybody else has. And then suddenly you have entire peace in the Middle East, and then through Modi in India, you'll have entire peace in the Far East. The reason is because Trump knows moving forward, we all have to be able to travel freely. We all have to be able to travel freely, because the whole goal of this is for you know, people as beautiful and as enlightened as you are, is to go and meet all of these other beautiful and enlightened people and imagine what they're going to teach us. Imagine how much wiser we're going to be. And these are people that don't have a lot of technology, so they actually know how to do shit. And versus then not being able to I know how to read a book, but that's about it. And they know how to do stuff, and they're going to teach us how to do stuff like build our own homes and create our own potable water and to create our own irrigation systems and to become completely self-sufficient of these demonic governments, godless governments. So it's amazing. Palestine is absolutely, that's how you know the Q plan is completely real and that Trump is absolutely a good guy. Because look at all of these peace deals. Look at how there's been no war. If this was fakery, there would be frickin' war everywhere, because that's what they do. If Antarctica was some kind of they would frickin' own it, and somebody would be frickin' mining it right now and stuff. But it's an ice wall. It's an ice wall, and they know that they can't do anything because then the oceans all run out, and then, you know, there's no water left around the center plane. So, and then they're trying to break a hole in the glass ceiling and stuff. They're putting the truth in front of us in plain sight from day one. And so that's how you know there's no war, and there's no, you know, all of this has been halted. It's all been halted because there is a Q team, because there is a goodly, godly military, because there is a goodly, godly president of this earth, which is Cyrus 45, Trump 45. His name is Trump. His name is Trump. Nobody gets this, right? The book of Joshua, going around the city 7 times, 7 blasts upon the trump. John F. Kennedy Jr., one of his last speeches before he just disappeared somewhere, blew up. Clinton's got him good. And before he's reading the passage from Romans about Trump and blowing upon the trump and the wearing the armor of God. Come on. How easy do they have to make this? What is the biggest post that Q repeats again and again and again? How many coincidences do you need to run into before you realize it's not a coincidence? 2020, year of crystal clear vision, and the great conjunction between Saturn and the Sun on December 21st, and now we're inches away, days away. We're 3 days. Jesus is just about to go into the tomb, and then on Easter Monday, the miracle occurs, and he rises eternally to heaven on the right-hand side of thy Father. And that's Monday, Easter Monday, April 5th. And it's all real. It's all happening. Palestine will be completely liberated. They will become great friends with the Israelis, because when the truth comes, what they're going to find is that they're the same. They're the same. They all look the same. They all eat the same foods. They all like the same things. It's like, wow. It's like we're family. Yeah, you are. You are. You're absolute family. And like I said, it's so important, because moving forward, Trump knows that we all have to be allowed to travel. Passports, why do you think in this Q plan they made all of this COVID stuff in and around passports? Because they've been demonizing passports, because this is helping you to prepare for a world moving forward with no passports. No passports. What's your name? Me. I am me. I am me.
Which is a really good thing, because we don't actually have a passport.
Yeah. Who's your father? I am. Who's your mother? Mary. That's it. What else? What else do you need? I'm me. Let me into Israel. Let me into the Holy Land. And it isn't Israel, it's Razel. It's always father, mother, child. So it's not mother. Suddenly, the one time only they ever put the mother first, and it's in the name Israel, is Ra-El. No, it's Ra is El. And doesn't that make sense? Ra is El. El is light. Ra is the sun god. The sun god is light. Ra is El. Razel. Raise the L, which is the Christ light within you, and it all makes such perfect sense. So yeah, we're all going to be able to make our pilgrimage once every 7 years to Razel, and go upon the Mount of Olives and eat olives from trees that are 1,000 years old and stuff, and breathe in the air that Jesus was breathing in, and
Beautiful.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Shirley.
you. Just so beautiful.
Thanks for all that.
Mm.
All right. Just want to give another opportunity for others who haven't asked or spoken or given any topics. Do we have any other questions or topics we want to dive into from those we haven't heard from? I know Nicole just joined us. Thank you for being here. Anyone got anything on their mind?
I can ask. I already did a little bit, but
Yeah,
I'd love
go
to
for it.
know about as far as like this idea that in Argentina, a lot of the people from Germany ended up in Argentina, and there's this Finding Hitler show and all these things, and they try to paint it, obviously different than probably what's real, but just, yeah, how many people do you think on this earth kind of really know Earth history accurately and have a cosmology that is, yeah. I guess then too, like as far as the Q team goes and how small it is, with what happened recently, the Boulder thing, like do you think the white hats are allowing things to occur, or does the cabal have some reach still?
What we've said all along is and what's taking so long and what creates delays, and then the plan gets set back, and that's why, you know, don't mention dates and stuff like that, because this is an unprecedented plan and it's a miracle. Because Colleen and I, like when we watched that election on November 5th of 2016 between Trump and Clinton, we didn't know tons about Trump, but we knew that if Clinton won, that we were all done for. And I mean, we're so close to going down for the count for millions of years before we ever righted the ship ever again. But so that's how real it is. But it's all these sleeper cells, and so the more that they do, the more rats that come out of the woodwork. And I'm really not at liberty to say too much, and I'm not on the inside of anything, but it's, if you look at my actions, just know that everything I'm doing is part of a plan. Now, this is not me thinking of my left brain. This is all just coming to me, and I know what I need to do. So if I called out Charlie Ward, just know that there is a powerful reason. And here's the thing: if I didn't, what would you think of me if I didn't?
Yeah,
When
thank you so much.
things come to pass, if I didn't say something, wouldn't each and every one of you say, Charlie, why didn't you say something? But that's not the response. The response was, that's not very goodly and godly, Charlie. That's not very Christian of you. Sure it is. Read the Bible. Learn a little bit about Jesus Christ. That's exactly what Jesus would have done. And I'm trying to be on the right-hand side of everything. And if I know something, then if I know better, I have to do better. And if I know something, I have to share that something. And if I don't, I'm a coward. And I'm done with being a coward. I have to be the Clint Eastwood of Mexico, because somebody has to. That's the whole point of Colleen and I in doing this, because nobody else was, like, we got into the truth community, we're looking at all these different people, we're trying to find role models and leaders and people that a voice that we could follow. And it's like, you know, a little bit with this and this and this, and it's like, but they never go anywhere. And then it's just utter bullshit. And it's like, and then Colleen's like, it's like, we have to do this. And it's like, I just want to write my books.
I actually, about 6 months before we did this, I was like, you should have a YouTube channel. And he was resistant. I'm like, and so when he decided to, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've pissed everybody off. We've made enemies of everybody in the truth community, because unlike them, we actually tell the truth. That's the funny thing about the truth community. There's not a lot of truth in the truth community. There's information, but there's not a lot of truth in the truth community.
But I think we're all going to be surprised at how much common sense was stripped away from us, and that's ultimately what we're just all looking for right now, is just common sense. That's what we were looking for, beacons of common sense out there, and people were just so, you know, waylaid in their information, and whether they were paid to do it or not, we don't know, but it was very, very scary. And just common sense, that's all we were looking for. And flat earth is just, at this point, common sense, and so many people are railing against it, and you're like, oh, I'm worried. Too many people are lacking common sense. But,
Yeah,
but it's coming back. It's coming back.
Go ahead, Joel. Thank you, Angel.
Yeah, the social pressure that people, their social circle is so critical to their ego, that they not be cast out of the group that accepts them, and that they've integrated that so deeply. And so there's so many types of hypnosis, and most people are only willing to deal with a few so that they can be in stardom and become a YouTube star and say, look at me, I've done all this shamanic work. And you know, and they've done some rites of passage, but then, you know, it's unfortunate. They're becoming the next Hollywood now. They're sort of replacing, because information. Nobody wants to be lied to anymore, so they're looking for truth, and now we have all these people there to just mislead them.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect setup, and I think it's all beautiful in a sense, because this is how we discover who's authentic, who's really willing to continue to do the work and not just try to reach a place where they can now rest. And that's really rare to find people. Even in the deep shamanic work, I've worked with some really unique people, but they have holes in their consciousness and they're unwilling to consider that. They believe they've reached a place where they no longer have anything to change. And my understanding is if we're willing to change constantly and be in a place of receiving guidance, then we're going to be absolutely changed. Like, we're going to go through so much radical transformation, and we're heading into a time in which that veil is really going to lift, because we're going to stop projecting this fantasy, and we're actually going to start to learn, about what our chakra system is, just without even you telling us. We're going to be able to actually actualize it through our own journey through purification. And a lot of the shamanic stuff's going to show up for people that, because in my world, people focus on their memories. They purify their past through breath work. And when they're doing that, they're actually puking up stuff like acidity that is, and it's really powerful. But they become so detached that they won't even look at what's going on in the world. And I was watching The Hobbit last night, and that elvish woman was like asking Legolas, are we just going to go and do our own thing and let this happen? And that's what the shamans are doing right now. They're just like retreating to their practice, and they're building their own power and intent, and they're not stepping outside of these circles to come integrate with us now that we're in this transformation. It's like it's very concerning, but I think we needed to see that. And so there's just a lot being revealed.
Yeah, and there's a number of people that know of the things that we teach, but none of them have waded into the Q team, into Trump, and into any of this. And in the beginning, we never thought we would need to, because they have sort of their own movement and these anons and whatnot. And then we were just observing, and we were finding that they were missing the mark, and that if we didn't step in and do that series on the takedown of the cabal from A to Z and introduce these higher concepts and piece everything together holistically, that the whole process was going to take a lot longer if we didn't shed some light. So we stepped in. And when we stepped in, there were so many people that reached out to us and said, you've done such great work, and you're risking it all with this Q fantasy and Trump, he's Illuminati, and all this stuff. You should just stick to this. And it's like, no, I know better, and I have to do better. And if people rail against it, that's their issue. That's their issue. This is all real. This is all happening, and there is no other way this was gonna happen. There's no other way. Their technology is so far advanced of what they've allowed us to have. And that's why you have Africans 100 years ago or 150 years ago all convinced that they were visited by aliens from other worlds. Yeah, because the Africans were 100 years, 150, 200 years, 300 years behind on technology. When you see somebody come to you on a levitating craft, dressed up a certain way, it's like, yeah, that's a dude from outer space. And they came and they spoke to me and they told me these things, and then that's the way it is. Yeah, they've had levitation. They've known about the true power of magnetism, and that because in their society, where can you learn about magnetism? Where can you get a degree in magnetism? There are infinite degrees in electricity, and if you've ever worked with electricity, even just if you slowly learn about your house and the wiring in your house, electricity is a shit show. It's dangerous, and it's a shit show. And that's the perfect allegory for your left brain. If you are going to spend time or define yourself out of your left brain, you're an electrical circuit, and you're a danger. You're a danger to yourself, you're a danger to your children, you're a danger to everybody else when you're in your left brain. And it's incredible the stuff that Colleen and I have been allowed to see, or how things have played out, just showing us all of this. As we learn more about electricity, it's like, oh my God, electricity is insane. Magnetism, simple. God's creation, simple. Yeah, incredible.
Charlie, did you see the post that CJ Truth put up about the team? And it had, you know, what was your opinion? And it had a list of people you were on there. It was just claiming which ones have claimed to talk to Q and all this sort of stuff. Justin, I think I sent that to you. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
That one came from Jordan Sather, and
Yeah.
you know, Jordan, I haven't ever got any really bad red flags with him in the past. He seems to be, his intent seems to be, he's trying the best, but he does have a very pessimistic view of everything. And so it's a common theme for people to lump in Charlie with the rest of the deceivers, because I don't know. I don't really know where the phenomena comes from, but it seems like
Charlie
people,
Ward.
right? Yeah, it's the Charlie Wards who try and lump it in there, and having the same name and all of that, and I think you know, those who have kind of lost a bit of that hope within themselves and lost a bit of that faith, they view anyone who's still providing that faith as a threat. So it's unfortunate that was the perspective that was taken, and that's been shared around. But you know, we'll see in the end, and everyone will see in the end. And it's like, well, you'll know where you stood, and you know where you cast your lot, whether you were on the right side of this or not.
And I think it's interesting when one had that screening, the people that were invited to that. You know, it's like
alien lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found it a little bizarre, but
It's once again, I know all of you know this, because very commonsensically, the whole alien thing doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. And the reason, of course, is that when you spend any amount of time just sort of observing life, it's a journey. Life is a journey, and then we're supposed to learn from the journey. And then, of course, we're supposed to pick ourselves back up. That's what happens to us all the time as kids. We fall down. The mother helps us up, and she teaches us to be strong and to always get back up. And that's what we have to do in this life. And so there are no and you know, maybe there are infinite number of different domes that are out there, but what I can absolutely assure you is that we are at the center. So if there are such a thing as aliens, then they're looking to us for answers. And we're like, no, we need those blue chicken people. And those blue chicken people are the ones that are going to help us. And they're there. They're talking to President Trump. And yeah, they're the ones that, you know, took away nuclear power a few years ago so that they can't blow things up.
That is a beautiful story.
It's a lovely story, but it disempowers you. And that's not the way. Anything that ever takes away from your power, your infinite power, then you're anti-Jesus Christ, because that's all Jesus taught. Jesus taught, and it's the one thing.
The true power connected to God, right? Not the ego power.
Yeah.
But.
And if you want to get a literalist Christian angry, you just say to them, I will do greater things than Jesus Christ, and they'll cut your head off. And yet that's literally what Jesus said, and much, much more. And the reason is because I've taught you, you will raise yourself, and in your journey you'll learn even more, and then you'll pass that on, and then the next person will learn more than both of us. And then every step of the way, we just keep, as a family, we keep getting higher and higher and higher. It's beautiful, and that's how it works. And but that's not what they want to hear. They don't want to hear anything that Jesus had to say in the Bible. So the most dangerous thing, the last thing that Jesus Christ would ever want to do is come back. Because if he came back, they would have him bound and tied and gagged and put in front of a firing squad in no time. You're not Jesus Christ. Yes, I am. I'm saying the exact same things in the Bible. What's wrong with you people? No, you don't. No, you're not.
We should maybe hear from some of the people there, and just got a few more minutes left. Justin, is there anybody else that wants to speak?
3C?
And
Nicole?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I mean, whenever I can chime in.
Yeah,
No,
go for it.
Go for it.
Oh, there's so much that resonates. It's just been powerful to be with you all here, hearing so much. This, I'm not sure if everyone has been partaking, who's viewing or participating in the call, but the juicing feast has been something that has really pushed me in a way that lovingly, like just everything was a way to kind of get me to a place to say, hey, you know, if there's ever a fear, you got to kind of like face that fear. And if there's a reason that you're not facing it, then there's like, you're something that you're falling back on that's not true, because fear is an illusion and you're accepting that illusion. And that's what's really kind of coming to light through this process. And I feel like maybe that's what a lot of this is that people are seeing the illusion of what we've accepted. And we've accepted such a farce of a reality where we are truly creating our own prison by accepting this broken tradition, like all these broken traditions that we keep on passing down. So, so much of this has been very inspiring to kind of be the Christ light in my life all the time, to kind of remember that every day I can accept that, kind of like accept that mission, you know, and that mission is to keep shining and keep walking that truth. And it's so wonderful to hear all that kind of like, we say these kind of common phrases, but we don't stop and think, no, there's so much power if you actually understand, like stop and smell the roses, that idea, like everything about the stillness, you know, all of it is so powerful. And it's just wonderful. I'm not sure if I have a question so much as I'm just kind of in inspiration mode right now. I haven't stopped. And I'm not sure, you know, if it was, you know, Colleen, thank you. You introduced me to John Rose, even with that quick little video, and truly inspiring. I can hear Charlie's words in John's message. And I was just like, it's when you let your guard down, for me, at least I'll speak for myself. When I let my guard down in this last 12 months, if you will, or whatever, since all this kind of hit the fan and everyone's been having to face like, hey, some hard truths. Like you can keep on believing the lies if it makes you feel comfortable. And I feel like there's a lot of boomers generationally who are having the hardest time really. Could I have really gone this whole time believing this and putting my children through this and never being a tradition breaker? I had to break lineage. And you guys always say the soul family is so important to really be true to your heart. And then that divine inspiration starts shining through, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the voice that I should be listening to. You've always been with me. And I just feel so sad thinking of like what you mentioned about with the fast food and with this, the majority of the population still struggles to see that they've been like led to this kind of comatose state where they don't even think about what they're doing anymore, and they have such poor and low expectations of themselves because they've seen such misery in the way that their family have left them, so to speak, in such a. And you mentioned cancer, and it's all tying together, and it's been a really beautiful journey to really let that false reality slip away and kind of step into the power that you have. We all have that power to really walk as as boldly as Christ Jesus did. And that's what we're really called to do, is to step into that truth, which is, there is abundance. Don't believe scarcity. No, there is no reason not to kind of look at everyone as an extension of yourself, because that is how we find harmony and peace. And it's just wild. I mean, I see it very clearly, but then there's so much that people still don't, like you mentioned television. And that's another thing. People just don't stop to think, like, why do I have to occupy my space? Because I'm scared. I'm scared what happens when I stop, when I stop and let that, just the quiet, and just let my mind start relaxing. And that's what's so strange, is that we haven't, it took 2020, like you said, the clear vision. It took all of the S hitting the fan for people to be like, none of this makes sense. It's time that I either go in or I just, run off the hill like everyone else right now. And the masks, and it's all very clear when you stop and allow the truth to move you, not to be moved by falsehoods or fear. And for me, that took a lot. It took a lot for me it took my father dying. It took the China virus. It took all of this happening for me to be like, why do I have to be propelled by fear instead of trust, instead of knowing that I am divinely and innately safe, that I have no reason to fear. And that's really what a lot of this has come down to, is people are just running away from facing their power, their truth, the truth that is that the Christ story is our story. If we carry that, if we accept that mission. I don't know. I feel like I really want to just pass the baton and keep hearing Charlie go on. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't ask a question, but I really wanted to share that. I don't know.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, 3C. Those are beautiful thoughts. And you're right. Just, having the courage to follow what Jesus Christ started. It's literally that simple. And that's why it's black and white. You either are or you're not. And when you're not, there are consequences. It's just the way things are. And the consequences are righteous as well. There's everything is just so beautifully earned. So, Nicole, you were gonna say something too, right?
Hi, everybody. Yes. So thanks, Tracy, because you were saying some of the things that were ticking away in my head at the same time. So what I was getting from what Charlie was saying earlier and 3C was the idea of moving into the right brain and being able to tap into our creativity and our vision for the future. And part of what I always use as a red flag when I'm listening to some of the truth community is when they get really pessimistic, which Justin alluded to before. And there's this doom and gloom idea that they're painting and how we all need to be in such fear. And anytime I hear that, it's like, ooh, fear is the opposite of where I want to be, which is love, right? It's the other end of the continuum. So that doesn't resonate. I'm going to move away from that and move into, like you're saying, the right brain, into love, into tapping in so deeply into myself that I'm able to envision for myself what I want the world to look like and feel like. For me, I feel more than I even see. So how do I want to feel? How does that heaven on earth feeling feel to me in my heart? And that's the vision I want to hold. And then as soon as it goes back to magnetism, as soon as you're holding that vision and that sensation inside of you of how can this world develop? Like, let's say we really are at this breaking point where we're going to go in two completely different directions, and there's going to be this bifurcation or whatever's going to happen. I don't even know. But as we ascend, we have this ability to make choices and choices and choices. And so as you're holding in your heart that concept of how do I want to feel? Like, what is the world around me? What do I want that to be like when I interact literally on a daily basis? Like when I wake up on a Monday, what does Monday feel like? And then what does Tuesday feel like? And what does Wednesday feel like? And what does my day of rest feel like? So going based on that sensation inside of myself, I am able to envision how I want my world to be. And then going back to the magnetic thing is once we can hold that inside of ourselves, then we automatically magnetize in truth and the people who are holding that same vibration, that same frequency. And so that's kind of for people who are trying to figure out like where truth lives, and I know like in this community, there's a truth, there's a straight and narrow path. but I think the way that we can sense into that straight and narrow path for ourselves is how does it feel? Does it feel aligned with the most beautiful and magnificent thing you can envision? Because that is what Christ wants for us, right? That is the Christ energy, is the most beautiful, loving, dynamic energy of creation. I mean, we're here to be creators, you know, to mimic God in the sensation of creating more love and more beauty and more creation on the earth. So I was just going to say that what I think a lot of people have, I mean, including all of us, have experienced is that from a very young age, that part of us is just shut down. I was an elementary school teacher. That was what I graduated from college with a degree, and that's what I began to do. And I remember part of my biggest dissatisfaction with being a teacher was I would feel into my community of 23 or 4 kids, and they were young, 6, 7-year-olds. And I would have this desire to do these things with them that were creative and to work on their talents and let them have this expression in their classroom and take each child from where they are to just kind of bring them up to the next thing. And it was not like that. It was, nope, you need to accomplish this. And nope, this is what we're on this week. And nope, this is what the math book says. And so from that very, very, very young age, especially even now, it's even younger. It's into like the 2 and 3-year-old ages when they're on devices and what they're watching on TV and stuff. But we really have hijacked our ability to envision and to create and to go into the heart and feel into the sensation and to imagine what we wish the world to be. And, you know, all of the conversations about manifestation, you know, even the ones that come biblically are about sensing into what needs to come. Like what is it that you desire, and feeling so wholeheartedly into that sensation that no other reality can exist in a way, you know? And so I just think that maybe my question is, how do we change that education system? You know, like how do we go back to affecting our babies? I mean, I think primarily it's from a parent's perspective, because, you know, that is still the greatest influence on a child's life is their mother and father, and having a dynamic family where that's fostered. And I know in my family, I'm talking a lot to my children, and my kids are a little bit older, but more like in their teens, but I'm always talking to them about like the truths of things. And sometimes they look at me like, Mom, you know, if I went to school and told my kids told my friends some of this stuff, they'd look at me like, what the heck? And I'm like, I know, but it's important to expose you guys to it. And you can live your own life, and you can make your decisions, and you can kind of feel into what you feel is true for you. And that could be different when you're 18 versus when you're 25 versus when you're, you know, 40 and so forth. But I guess my question is like, how, other than in the parenting world, how else do we go ahead and help encourage our communities to be that way? Like how do we all see that to be? And maybe everybody has a different idea of that, but how do we encourage that type of expansion? Go ahead, Charlie. Yeah. Magi.
So it's going within. So there's a lot of really great comments in the chat as well. And what I'll try and do is sort of balance, sort of synthesize everything together. I said earlier that why they created Hollywood is to take us away, and this is what 3C was talking about, how we've all just become comatose, and it's because they've created movie theaters. You are a movie theater, and what reel you play is your reality. And then all they have to do is, see, they don't read your mind. It's like the Truman. We're going to break the Truman Show down because everything is there. Everything is there. It's more important movie than you could possibly ever know. It's all there. And all they have to do, they can never get into your mind. They can't read our minds. There's all these truthers. They always go in for these technology things, and it's always, you know, they've got so much power. Why haven't they won already then? Right? We're such, you know, screwed up. No, because they don't have those powers. It's illusion. They've never been inside my head. You've never been inside my head, said Truman. And none of them ever have. Because when you go inside, you go alone, which is all one with God. When you go within, you cannot be harmed or hurt. If you took a person and put a person meditating in front of a battlefield, all the bombs and all the horses and all the swords and all the rifles and bullets and everything else will miss the person who is on the ground in complete oneness with God, because that's your vibration is eternal. It's perfect. You cannot be harmed when you're with God. This is that armor of God. Now, yesterday I was talking a little bit with Marie about laminin, the Lamb of God within us, which is Jesus Christ, and laminin is what basically holds us together inside, because so much of what we are inside is liquidity. So how does liquidity become somewhat solidity, so that all of our liquidity, or the waters within us, don't seep out of us? And it's because we have the ties that bind within us, and they bind us together. Who are they binding? So it's Jesus Christ that is binding us to the Father. And that's why laminin is shaped like a cross. And then how does laminin work within each of your molecules? Okay, your molecules are atoms. So, so you just need to think of this. They've lied to you about subatomic particles. So just throw that away. No such thing as subatomic particles. There are, what are you? You are your cells. Cells are made up of molecules. What are your molecules? Atoms. That's it. What are atoms? They can be seen. Of course they can, because they're points of light. An atom is a point of light, which is God. It's photonic light. God is photon. God is light. So it's photonic light. And your atoms, which is Adams and Eves, masculine and feminine, your Adams and Eves, which are atoms, are made up of one simple thing, which is atoms, which is light. And inside of this light are crosses. So it's like inside of God at his most elemental creational form within us is Jesus Christ. And the ties that bind us together are these laminin. And what do? They join arms. They link together, and miraculously, it's a miracle, miraculously, this laminin basically keeps our basic liquidity within the body so that it doesn't seep out. Now, they've done a lot of tests on this laminin, and some people have more laminin than others. And those that have a lot of laminin live longer. They're very strong people, strong physically, strong mentally. They're people that the average they've got a good point. So grow laminin within you, being virtuous, by walking the path that is straight and narrow, by helping others, by being penitent before God, humble before God, in service to all of God's creation, putting others first, and then that becomes your joy. Your joy is seeing the smiling faces that are all around you. It's the highest high. You get the highest high. You don't need drugs. What are freaking drugs for? Go help somebody. Go help somebody and watch. When you help them to empower themselves, and they gain power and strength from helping themselves, there's no higher high that you can get. It's the greatest reward that you could ever be given. These are the riches that we store up in the kingdom of heaven.
And if your question is always, how can I help? You're also going to be somebody who can do stuff. You're going to learn from other people who do things. We're going to be can-doers. We're going to be ablers. And that's just a beautiful way to go forward in a teaching environment for our children. And they will also be teaching us so many things, and having a new perspective of what going forward this means. It's like we're helping each other. That doesn't matter what age we are, right? We have respect for gnosis no matter what age it comes from. So there's going to be a whole paradigm shift in this whole thing, and the whole thing, the whole point we have right now too is take no thought for your life. We really don't have to worry about any of it. God is going to give us something way bigger. Could any of you imagine in this moment what we're going through and what's about to transpire? None of us, I don't think any of us, had a scope of this big, that the entire world was going to be freaking taken down of evil. I can safely say that none of us had that vision. Correct me if I'm wrong. But holy cow, God's plan is freaking amazing. And the plans he's got for us going forward, I don't want to, mess it up with my small time fry thoughts at this point. I want to leave it open because it's going to be freaking incredible. And we're all going to have this inspiration as we clean ourselves up and become more crystal-like. And the amazing stuff that's going to channel through us. We're going to be talking and I'll be looking at someone and going like, did I just say that? Like, wow, that's amazing. And that's really cool what you just said. And we're all just going to be flowing with this gnosis, and it's going to be amazing to just share all of this with each other. And so the schools are going to be different. Everything's going to be structured so mankindish, so amazing.
The Peace Corps, John Kennedy, the first thing he did, I just thought it was so important in his presidency to get young Americans to go out into the world and to help other people. They weren't making any money from this, but they were aided to be able to go and to do these things. The Peace Corps. There's no greater gift to all of humanity than turning people on to the ultimate reward, to the ultimate reward, which is helping others and what is given. So when you go through this and you learn about like laminin, which is the essence. So that's what's in your cells are made up of molecules. Your molecules are atoms and Eves, and that is photonic light of God. And inside those molecules, what holds us together are these crosses, which are the ties that bind, which are Jesus Christ. And then your whole body works through the endocrine system, the limbic and the endocrine systems, which are magnetic fields, which is the mother. So the Father, Mother, Child, it's the Holy Trinity, and then it's melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. So that's pineal gland, pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus. So everything runs through these portals. The portal of the body is the woman's vagina or the male penis. This is these sexual organs from the sexual sacral plexus, which is that superhighway that, if charged right, will take you all the way up to Ajna, the third eye, which illuminates, and then all of these incredible things happen that, the fornix rolls back, the stone rolls away from the tomb, and then the alchemical marriage with Christ, the best man, as Jehovah's Witness at the wedding between the mother and the father. So what I'm trying to share with you and teach all of you is that you get more laminin within your body by the more righteous and virtuous you are. When you're kind to others, then kindness comes flowing back to you, and you're rewarded with more laminin. It's just the natural occurrence. And then it's so how do people who are all switched on and are growing older, how do they stay looking younger? So if we're gifted 1,000 years, why is it that kind of flies in the face, Charlie, of what we see here? Because by the time people turn 60, they're looking pretty rugged, they're looking pretty old, and then they go ahead and die, and that's because their electricity, and like I was sharing with you, electricity is a shit show. It totally is, and you look like shit after 60 years if you live through electricity, because electricity is craziness. It's just loco. You're a lunatic if you're electrical, but if you're a magnetic field, you're whole. And if you're whole, then your whole system functions. And a lot of people in the chat are talk about this collagen and what role does collagen. Where does collagen comes from? Collagen comes from melatonin. Melatonin only comes from the pineal gland. The pineal gland must be turned on. Where's the pineal gland? It's like Capernaum in the Holy Land. It's at the top of the Sea of Galilee, at the very crown of the Sea of Galilee. Well, that's like an allegory for the pineal gland. It must be turned on. Once the pineal gland is illuminated, then you are now having traffic in two directions. It's not just all coming from your shitter, which is the root Muladhara chakra, where life stinks and life sucks and you suck and that person sucks and everything stinks, and because it's all coming from the very bottom of you, the bowels of you, and it's very smelly, down
Because
in the
it's very
bowels.
stagnant energy.
And that's why people smell when you get away from the Death Eaters and you're a frugivore. Then you can start smelling other people, and they have an odd smell to them. It's very palpable, and it's because they live in their bowels. To be really blunt about it, they live in their bowels. They totally do, and they smell like their bowels.
That's where the swamp is.
And that's where the swamp is, and we have to drain the swamp. So when you become righteous and you get more laminin in you, then that's more light. And when you have more light, then the three key glands of all are the pineal, the pituitary, and the hypothalamus. That is the key. Those are the three wise men bearing the gifts. And everything runs inside of you on a circadian rhythm. This is so undertaught and misunderstood. Most people just think there's a circadian rhythm to help you with, daytime and nighttime, when to go to sleep and when to have more energy and stuff. You have a circadian rhythm for everything, for every day of your existence, for every day of the week, for every month. Every month is different. Every month there's a different kind of energy, and that energy is flowing within you. Every single moon day is powered by the moon, and it's a very, very emotional day because it is that a sacred feminine above us. It's a moon day, and then
It's miraculous.
and it's miraculous, and that's why Marie it's good on Mondays with Marie, and it's that magnetic vibration. It's so fantastic. And so you have a circadian. So then on Tuesday. So in Latin, it really helps if you understand these terms in Latin because it takes you to the source of everything. So what do they call Monday here in Mexico? Lunes. Luna is the moon. So Monday is the moon day. You don't get this because they call it Monday. They just took one of the O's away. Just like, what's a month? It's a month. They just took one of the O's away. Oh, Charlie, you're crazy. How do you not see this? They just took an O away. A month is a month. Monday is moon day. They just took an O away. No, it isn't. Well, what is it in Latin? Luna. Lunus. That's the moon. Monday is moon day. So it's a day where we're really connected to that moon energy above us. So that's emotion. So that moon above us is emotion. And so we're very emotional on moon days. And so we need to just be cognizant of that. It's not evil, it's not bad, but you need to be in control.
And if you know astrology and you find out that the moon is, in a certain position in your chart, it could be that it's really powerful for you more than some. So that's kind of like getting to know thyself and knowing thy astrology. And the energies that you were born under that became you.
That's right. On your born day is very, very important.
Your angle of light has a certain frequency, and so it's so, and we need to learn so much more about it too. It's to become a master of something like that.
That's
really
right.
Cool, but
and we're going to do a lot of shows moving forward when the time is available at their end. But with Santos and then Amanda McLeod, we're going to do a lot of shows with this and really encourage everyone to get proper readings done by people who are proper, it's, theologians of the night sky, astrotheology, and like Mr. Astrotheology. And hello, baby, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. And then you learn. But so Moon Day, and then Moon Day has an entire circadian rhythm that you need to be aware of because your body and therefore your mind are functioning in a certain way on Moon days. And then what's Tuesday here in Mexico? What do they call it? Martes is Mars. It is. That's literally what it means. Martes means Mars. So Tuesday is Mars Day. What's Mars? God of War. God of War. So that's not a bad thing. But boy, that wouldn't be good if every day was Tuesday, would it? And it wouldn't be good if every day was Moon Day, would it? If we would be so emotional. But it's good to have a flavor of emotion And it's good that it happens on that day because your body has a circadian rhythm for that day. So you're more balanced and you're more capable of being emotional without losing control on a moon day. Did you know that? No, because nobody ever told you till now. And then Mars is not bad, but it's there's a fight energy and a real powerful go movement energy, and that's very important because you got to be on top of things by Wednesday, because Wednesday's the hump day. So you got to get to the top of the camel's hump. So you need Mars Day on Tuesday because God's a genius, because the next day is the middle of the week. and if you're going to be finished so you can meditate on Friday night for the Sabbath day, which is the seventh day, which is Saturday, which is Saturn day, and everybody demonizes Saturn like Saturn is Satan and it's all totally evil. No, that's if you wear the crown of Kronos, which Kronos is linear time. So if you wear the crown of Kronos with linear time, then you're a Satanist and you're, the devil worshiper and death eaters. But if you wear the right crown, which is the crown of Jesus Christ, which is the purple rain and purple bliss, then that's the highest high is Saturn. Saturn is the highest high. It's the seventh day. Doesn't get any higher. And it's the closest to God, which is the Sunday, which is the first day of the week, which is right after the last day of the week. So the whole week is your chakras. The whole week is your chakra system. And you're supposed to peak and peak and peak. But in what direction? Up, up, up. And then that's why on Friday night, what do we do on Friday nights? Party, drink some alcohol and party, and let's go out and smash some windows and maybe roll our car or something like that. Or should you be inside meditating in preparation for the Sabbath day? And Sabbath means 7, which is the day of silence. Therefore, it's a day of gratitude and connection to God. So it's a silent day, and that's the Sabbath day. We celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday. What's the sun? Whoa, it's that nuclear furnace. There's no nuclear power. No, it's just steam. That's what nuclear power plants are. It's just steam. No, there's no nuclear bomb. God did not allow and he didn't create anything that a evil scientist or a renegade country could turn into a bomb that could destroy his creation or kill all of his wonderful children. No, you've been lied to. No such thing. It's depleted uranium. Uranium's a really crazy kind of element, and it could make one heck of a bomb. So maybe there is a very powerful bomb through depleted uranium, but it's not nuclear power. There's no subatomic particles. They're lying to you. So you need to learn more about yourself, and you see everything synthesizes back to the fact that everything is circadian rhythm. And so Wednesday is miércoles, and miércoles is Mercury. So do a little research. What is Mercury? What does Mercury mean? What does that mean? So I have a circadian rhythm, mercurial. And so you have a circadian rhythm on the Wednesday, which is the hump day, which is 4 of 7. 4 of 7, which is the middle way, which is the heart chakra, right? And so all of these things are happening. They're all about Mother Earth, and it's all about green, and it's all about the middle way and the middle path on the Mercury day. And then what's Thursday? Jueves. Jueves is Jupiter. Jueves means Jupiter. Jupiter is the Thursday, because that's the Father in preparation for Friday. Viernes. Venus, the higher mother. We had the emotional mother Moon on Monday. Now we have Diana, the higher mother Venus on Friday. So then that is really important on Fridays, that you are pure and innocent. So why did they teach us to go out and drink alcohol, smash windows, drive really fast, and smash our cars on Friday? Because that's the opposite of what Diana would do. That's the opposite of what Venus would do. See how this all works? Party hardy on Friday night when you need to be in here in stillness and silence. Driving your car your sacred vehicle of transportation to God. And that's what you do in preparation for the Sabbath day. And think about the perfection of the Muth calendar, 28 days. So the first day of every month always is the first day is being born, right? So then what's the first day of every month is the 22nd, because that's 2-2, which is the master number of the sacred feminine, the mother who borns everything into existence. So 22 is the first day. Did you know that? What's the last day of every single month? The 21st. Why? Because 2 and 1 is Father, Mother, create, child. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's the Holy Trinity. So you've got 28 days to do the work to create the Holy Trinity within you and have the alchemical marriage in the chamber of the bridegroom and the highest part of the third ventricle of your brain. How do you do that? Well, the moon teaches you. She tells you, because the moon is not just months, she's weeks, right? The sun is a day and a year. The moon, she is a week and a month. So what do the weeks teach us, which are strongs? They're not weak, they're strongs. But what does a week or a strong actually do? It tells us, because the moon is visible for 2 weeks and she's invisible for 2 weeks. So what's the whole point of weeks? To teach you to be prepared for the coming of the mother. And the moon in the sky is the emotional mother. Does not make her bad, but she's emotional. And you have to control that latent, powerful energy. And you've got 14 days to do it. Now, what do we call that? 14 days. What do we call that? What is that period of time called? 14 days. It's called a fortnight. A fortnight. Night, in reference to the Father in meditation, in stillness and silence. You have 14 days when she's invisible, can't see her, and you better get to work, because you got a circadian rhythm that is going for every month. And 14 days she's invisible and powerless, and then her latent emotions are going to come for 14 days. And you better be ready, and you need to be ruling over those emotions, and then they work for you, not against you. So that's what a fortnight is. You got 14 days to build a fort. This is your fort. See, once again, Solomon's temple, the Ark of the Covenant, the chalice of Christ, that's your fort. You've got, and it's already built for you. You don't have to build anything. It was built by Hiram Abiff, the Hiram above, Jesus Christ. It's already built for you.
Just keep it pure.
So just keep it. So everything is showing you in every single day, the solar day or the day of the week or every moon. These are all circadian rhythms. These are all messages. All of these words mean something. All of these numbers mean something. And they're powerfully telling you what it is that you need to do. And what you need to do is to build a fort, to rule over and control the mother, so that she will ascend you higher and higher to the culmination of the month, which is the 21st. And that's how it works. And there's 13 moons of 28 days, which is 364 days. Perfect. Perfect. Because there's a day and a quarter left over. That's your pineal gland. That's the size of your pineal gland in relation to the rest of your brain. That's the distance, that's the size and the distance of, that NASA tells us, of the moon in relation to the sun. Did you know that? That the size and the distance of the moon that they tell us in relation to the size and the distance of the sun is exactly the same proportion, which is the size of the pineal gland to the rest of your brain. So that's a clue. So what does that tell us? What's the whole purpose of a year, of a solar year? is that we journey, we live, we experience for 364 days, and then we pay it all back to God for a day and a quarter of absolute stillness and silence. So then why do we have a Sabbath day every seventh day? A miracle, God intervention. 7 is God intervention. So every seventh day is a miracle because it's teaching us to be prepared for the 365th and a quarter day of the year, which is the day we don't count time. That's why there's no accounting for it within the moon calendar of the year. There's no accounting for it because you don't account for time when you're in connection to God. So it's a day and a quarter of you taking no food, taking no thought, in pure connection, readiness and connection to the Father. And you see how this all works? You see how brilliant all of this is? So when I say to you, when I teach that we are the pinnacle of God's creation, holy shit, we are the pinnacle of God's creation. Our bodies and minds are a miracle, and they are guided by the most sophisticated computerized systems known to God. Like this is genius beyond description, is this creation. And we don't know any of it because we're not taught it. And we don't appreciate any of it. We don't do any of the work because we're not taught to appreciate it. We're not taught it. And so what I'm saying is that every day that you do things the right way, it starts with the food that you eat, you're putting more laminin into your body. And more laminin in your body means that you've got more cells. And that means therefore you've got more photonic light, which is magnetic light, which is the light of creation, which is God and the mother. So you've got more mother and father in you every day that you have a righteous day. Stop taking thought. Justin knows this. We just went through the whole book of Matthew, and Justin knows that if there's one thing that Jesus Christ taught unfailingly from beginning to end, is take no thought for your life, because it's the only way to live. Stop thinking for yourself and let these miracle circadian rhythms do everything for you. All you have to do is get in alignment to what already is created. It's all built. It's all done. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is stop poisoning yourself and stop getting in your own way.
Both mind.
Both mind and body. And how do you get out of the way? By being an artist, by being kind to children, by helping others. Just be kind.
Spend time in nature.
Spend time in nature. Climb a mountain. Kindness is the key. Kindness is the key. When you are kind, God secretes more of everything you need within you. And then we were talking earlier about collagen. Collagen, which comes from melatonin. What does the word mela mean? What is the root etymological word of melania, melita, melise? It's honey. It's honey. It's honey. It's the land of milk and honey. Jews who are promised the land flowing with milk and honey. A Jew is one who creates the pineal and the pituitary gland. Pituitary is the mother, the milk of Mary, which is magnetic. And this is the honey of Joseph, which is preservative. What did Jacob say in Genesis 32:30 when Jacob leaves his family behind, crosses the river to the right, alone, crosses the Jordan River, wrestles his ego for a day, and then an angel comes and says, are you going to give up? And something? I'm never going to stop, never going to stop. And he said, what is your name? Jacob. He said, that is too poor a name for thee. I shall call you Razel. Because that's what he really said. I'm going to call you Razel. And then what is Jacob said? And there in a place called Pineal, I met God face to face, and my life was preserved. They never add that part of the quote into it. They always say, and I met God face to face in a place called Pineal, and my life was preserved. Because what's honey? It's a preservative. It's a preservative, and my life is preserved. So what does melatonin secrete? Collagen. What does collagen do? It re-lifes your cells. And so suddenly I look young again. I look so young and pretty again. Which is why these demons take adrenochrome from our children. And the great illusion is adrenals, and it's adrenochrome. Therefore, the adrenals are the most important. They're important because when they're torturing these children and they're still alive, because they have to harvest them while they're alive. So they have to skin them when they're alive. And that's why you see Tom Hanks with the volleyball Wilson and the blood red face that's on it. That's what a child looks like when they've been skinned of their face. And then they're making fun of you. And so Oprah has that, and Ellen DeGenerate has that, and Tom Hanks. They make fun of you in the movie, whatever movie that was, Castaway, and they make fun of it. They make fun of it in plain sight in front of you. And so it's the pineal gland, and that's why they have to be alive, because it's not the adrenals. The adrenals are important because they have life-giving secretions that are secreted when the body is close to dying, and they need those, they want those. But it's the pineal and the pituitary gland. Don't ever kid yourselves. That's it. And that's why this process has to be done when they're alive. And that's why you don't invite these people to heaven and then buy them a drink in heaven. They're not going to heaven. They're not going to heaven. You don't buy them a drink and say, thank you, I needed that to wake me up. Oh, the way you murdered those 752 kids. Oh my God, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. Here, let me buy you a beer. What the fuck? What is wrong? But that's what the spiritualist community teaches you, right? Because that's the way Jesus was. No, he's not. So it's all about your pineal gland, and then it's the master gland, and it'll trigger the pituitary gland, which triggers the hypothalamus, which is the child. And so all of this miracle happens when you do the work, and the work is getting in alignment with the miracle that you are. You don't even have to truly, really figure it all out or understand it. Just allow it to do its thing. And you know all it asks? All your system asks is that you're alkaline. And if that was eating Cheetos and drinking beer, I would tell you that. I would have nothing against Cheetos and drinking beer if that was alkaline. But they're not. They're acidic. That's death. You die at 60. These rock stars, they die at 60. Nobody bats an eye. They're $1 million house living the good life on Malibu, and they're dead at 60. And it's like, well, 60 is pretty old. I'm 57. Colleen's 55. I'm not even close. I'm a child. I've got ages and ages to go before I start to grow old. I still possess a child's mind inside. I'm not old. And you're as old as you want to look. You're as old as you want to be. When you act like a child, not childish, I did not say that. I said when you act like a child, then you'll look like a child. You'll behave like a child. You want to run fast again? Act. You want to look young again? Like a child. Do what a child does. Does it look young? Do that. Why are you an adult? Because somebody told you that you have to grow up and be an adult. And what does everybody say when they see their parents growing up? They go, fuck, I don't want to be that. I do not want to be that. Then why do you? Well, that's you have no choice. That's the way it is. You do have a choice. They're lying to you. You do. Everything looks the way it looks because you choose to be electrical. And like I said, learn about electricity. It is a shit show. Magnetism is brilliant. It's brilliant and it's perfect and it's eternal. It turns on, it never stops, never needs maintenance, never blows a circuit. It's a field. It's a unified field. It's a diamond. It's an 8. It's a scalar wave. It's Nikola Tesla. Scalar waves are Tesla waves. Tesla, a man who believed in God, who believed in flat earth. Stars are attached to the firmament. I mean, come on. So the secret to everything, my dear precious friends, is get out of your way. Take no thought for your life. Get out of your way and just allow this miracle to occur. And everybody wants collagen. You want collagen? You need to honey. Honey, your pineal gland. Gland? Sorry, there's no other way. Meditation. And that's why every book on meditation is a lie. That's why every video about meditation is bullshit. Because they're not teaching you what meditation is. Stillness and
The
silence.
solution.
And then you got the famous guy now going around saying that you can't ever still your mind. You get a headache trying. That's all I do. That's all I do is still my mind. That's all I do. So he's lying to you, and I can prove it.
The solution is always
So
so simple. Yeah, thanks for that, Charlie. I appreciate it. I want to make sure we get a chance to Ichabod. We haven't heard from you, and to Claudia. We haven't heard much from you. Do either of you have a question for today? We've got about 20 minutes left. Just wanted to make sure y'all have an opportunity to speak or share what's on your mind, or ask a question.
Well, there's always next time. What a show. I mean, phenomenal. I can't think of anything to ask at the moment.
That's great. That's a good thing to have. Yeah, it means we covered it well. How about you,
We did, for sure.
How about you, Claudia? Do you have anything else to add?
Hold on. Hi. Yes, I had to step away for a second, but I'm back and I was listening. Really, it's just my heart is so open, and sometimes it's a little overwhelming to take it all in and to really just, when we talked earlier about Israel and the Palestine and what Kazzrie mentioned, it just got me so deeply, and it's just like emotional, and without, I just need to process sometimes, what comes up in the moment, and as it just gets so deep under my skin, but it's all beautiful, and the truth is, to me, what I've always been looking for and seeking, and it just everything all the questions I had about so many things just came together. I mean, throughout this last year until now, just so many light bulbs went on, and all the pieces that just didn't make sense together just now, it really comes. As we all, we've heard it from others. I think I speak to how many feel, and it keeps just still going. There's so much more still to unravel and to unleash. And I have questions. I always have questions. And one thing that came up, and it's more like a practical thing, and we've been hearing from Peter Wilson about how to reclaim our strawman, and I really was very much looking into this and looking at the papers and the forms that he presented and the process how to do it. And I just was wondering if any of you have actually gone through this yet. I have pretty much completed the forms and I'm ready to submit them. So I'm just curious if any of you have gone forward with it yet, and yeah, what you're doing with it at this point.
Yeah, so I have not. It's one of those things where I almost feel like this would have been, at least, and this is just what I take, I think there are different ways to look at it, but I feel like this would have been helpful to sort of undertake and do maybe years ago, as more of a process to really get into and start this and really pave the way in that sort of regard. But now, with where we're at now, it almost seems like it feels like it feels like a mental trap almost, where it's like something where I'm gonna have to get into this process of submitting paperwork and dealing with courts more often and signing things and doing all of that. And so I think if someone really has a lot of passion in pursuing that, I think there could be a lot of value in doing so. But me personally, I hate bureaucracy. I hate paperwork. I hate all of that kind of stuff. So it's almost like what is my time and my attention, which is the most valuable currency in the universe. And if I'm spending my time and attention on something like that, what am I taking it away from? And so that's kind of, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I don't think I think Peter Wilson is teaching a beautiful thing, and I think there are certainly ways that you can utilize this solution for very tangible effects right now. But for me in my life, I don't have a real need for it. I don't see anything where I would gain a sort of immediate benefit from it. So I've chosen not to pursue it at the moment. But that might be different if I did have a real tangible thing that I was pursuing right now.
Thank you. That makes sense. Yeah. And I think I'm going to move forward for specific reasons that have to do with business and this kind of monetary system that we're still in. And unfortunately, I can't wait to finally complete that and get out of all of that. But it's all a transition and process to get there. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think Peter Wilson's heart is very pure, and the solutions he's teaching are absolutely 100% effective. He's got people that have done it. He's doing it himself, and that's how you know someone is speaking the truth, when they're willing to go and do it themselves and go that extra mile. They're not just speaking hearsay to say, hey, this is what I've learned, but no, he's actually going through and doing the process. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome.
As far as all of the paperwork and such and the whole everything's going to change. So for me, I'm going to take no thought for my life. I'm not going to worry about any of that paperwork. That would definitely not be my highest high at all, to get involved with that left brain world in this moment, for me anyway. And I think Charlie for sure is, we're going to wait. We're going to allow God to unveil this plan and see how things sift to the top. And there is going to be a whole new system out there. So I don't want to do any more work than is necessary and stay in a world that it just frustrates me anyway, and it will take me out of my right brain. And I've heard people who have been spending their time doing this, and it's horrifying. It's a horrifying process. And then I've heard people who have gotten to the part where they have this paper and they go to the border and it didn't work. So I'm like, oh, not for me. But that's just where we're at right now. We're just like, we're on the precipice and the whole thing's going to change. So I think we just have to have patience and faith and see what unfolds, and then maybe take some steps forward when you have more information, when we know better. What do you say?
Yeah, well, that's so right, Cole. And it does. All of the loopholes that you have to jump through, that they make you go through, are enormous. And there's no guarantee along the way. So there's a lot of stress along the way as well. And there's a lot of time, effort, and money involved in all of this process. And so it takes you out of your right brain, puts you back into left. So again, everything that is being taught by Jesus in the New Testament is stop thinking with the hands of man. Stop. Everything that you're doing that is of the hands of man, stop. And you just need to trust in the truth of God. And that's where we have to take the load off of Fanny and put the load right on God and God's shoulders. He'll set us free. He'll set us free. So what I'm saying is that I like it, and I like what Peter's saying and whatnot. And a number of years ago, But remember, at the end of the day, all that you're doing, because we looked into this process, and all that you're doing at the end of the day is you're creating a truce with the cabal. They respect your pathetic little kingdom, and in return, you're never going to challenge or question them, which means that you got out, sort of, but everybody else is still in there, and they're still eating children and all the rest of it, and that's totally okay because you're out.
And there's no proof it was going to work, really. On a mass scale, there was no proof they were going to let us all out.
That's right. Because
I don't think they were.
Well, because people who actually ended up getting the documentation found different responses with different countries in terms of their actual freedom and their rights. So we're finding that it wasn't universal. So at the end of the day, we go within, we do the inner work, and then we trust. So what I think to maybe help everyone in the chat room, because there's still a lot of questions, and I don't know how well. I just tried to fit this all on there. But people are asking, okay, so Charlie, so then what does that look like? So what does each day look like? Therefore, what's my life like? Because that's what your life is, sort of moment to moment, day to day, week to week, month to month, solar year to solar year, great year to great year. And it just kind of works this way. So Sunday is the sun, and it's all life. It's the creator of all life. So it's creation. So it's the start day. Its ideas are flowing to you on Sundays. That's why kids can't sit still in a church, is because they're just being stimulated by their circadian rhythm for the Sunday of just
Able
creation.
Day.
Able Day is the day of Able. I'm able to do anything that I want to. What should I do this week? And that's, by the way, that's kind of what we're supposed to take on, weekly projects. Everything is a weekly project. Everything is sort of week to week to make you strong, the inversion. And so it's an idea start day. And then Moon Day is the emotional day. And we're more ready to master our emotions on a Moon Day. The circadian rhythms help us on a Moon Day. And so it's the emotions of the mother add depth to our ideas, because with men and man in ideas, we can have good ideas, but they can be maybe a little thin. And now we're putting some curvature. We're putting some shapeliness to the ideas. We're adding depth to the ideas that were created on the Sunday. So see how great that is? Sunday, Monday, they work in unison with each other. And Mars Day is the war day, so do it, go. It's your action day. Put them into action, go, go, go. Because Mercury Day is the hump day, and it's the day about thinking about completion and finishing, getting ready. You know that the sun is beginning to wester in the sky. Soon it will be darkness, so you're preparing on that Mercury Day. And then Jupiter is the beginning of the transition. So you're remembering that the ultimate purpose is the completion of the week, which is to get back to the Father, which is the inner work. So Jupiter, Thursdays are the day you're still doing the work, you're still getting the completion of the hump day, Mercury Day completed, but you're now beginning to condition yourself, getting ready for the bien fin de semana, the great weekend with God. And then Venus Day, Venus is the purity of the mother. And so this is care and compassion and in its preparation. And so Friday nights, you look in every ancient culture, we've done the research, all the ancient cultures, Friday nights, meditation night. Friday night, meditation night. So that's a movie night, but you're the projector. You choose which reel to put on and which reel to play. And Sabbath day is the still and silent day. It is. And then that's preparing you for the 365th and a quarter day of the year, that day and a quarter, which is the pineal gland, to pay back to the Father for the miracle of the 364 days that were given to you in complete safety, complete armor of God. And all you have to do to never break anything or never fall off a ledge and kill yourself or whatever and miraculously survive, because people do, You know, a car rolls on someone and somebody comes along and lifts the car off in that moment. It happens. It happens. But it only happens to those who are wearing the armor of God. You can fall off the cliff and survive if you're wearing the armor of God, because you're filled with laminin. You got crosses everywhere, the ties that bind you together. And you don't fall apart. So that's kind of what it looks like. That's what it looks like day to day, week to week, and therefore month to month and year to year. And just remember that every year is part of a 26,000 year cycle. Every day is part of a 7-day week. Every week is part of a 4-week month. Every month is part of a 13-month solar year. Every solar year is part of a 26,000 great year. Every 2,200 years, it's part of an age. We're in the age of Aquarius now. You need to know all of these things. This is what Santos wants to teach, and this is what we need to do. The monies will come from God, and that's what we do. We create a building for the beautiful genius mind of Santos Bonacci, and you just let Santos create and teach, instruct others, and then we're creating monasteries, seminaries, and sunasteries. We're teaching the sun, the moon, and the sexual act, which is the creation of the child. We're teaching the Holy Trinity: Father, Mother, Child. So we have sunaries, moonaries, and seminaries. This is what teaching is supposed to be, and it's what we're going to do. We're going to create the space for Santos, and then for Siobhan and for Jackie and for everybody else that is musically inclined, we're going to create that studio. We're going to create that stage. We're going to feature music every single night, because music speaks to our soul. It soothes the soul, because music is a frequency and we are purely energy, and our essence is our soul, which is pure energy. So then the music is speaking to your soul, and you allow these geniuses to create through their music, and that's healing in here, which is what all the night is supposed to be. That's why, remember what I was saying with Marie the other day about what mourning is. A mourning is a mourning, and we're in mourning because we didn't do the night properly. We're mourning because we missed out on our opportunity of connecting to God in the night. So when the sun rises, we feel disconnected from God because we didn't do the night properly. So that's why they called it mourning, because we're in mourning because we're doing the nights wrong. So at nighttime, oh my God, do not turn on your television. At nighttime, you get the fire pit going outside, which is the fire of God. You look up into the night sky, which is the beautiful magnetic mother of all creation, and then it all just, it heals you, and it fills you with ideas, and it fills you with energy, and it fills you with light. So that's what it looks like, and so this isn't difficult. This is not hard. This is not hard. You just have to get in alignment. This is getting in alignment with who and what you truly are. This is alignment. This is what doing the work is. And eating fruit because you're a frugivore is in alignment. Meditating because you're a child of God and you live on a stationary, still earth means you need to be meditating. That's why they hide the stillness of the earth and the levelness of the earth, because they don't want you to become level, and they don't want you meditating. And that's why they bastardize all the teachings about meditation. And yoga is so important. Yoga is pre-meditation. Yoga is preparing you to be a master at meditation. But nobody teaches yoga with diaphragmatic breathing, the Buddha breathing. And that's what yoga is. Yoga is this inner strength through breathing that allows you to create these poses of utter balance and strength out there. But you create it within you through the breath you take. So it's so simple. Nobody's ever taught this to you before. And so what we need to do is just let Santos loose and Josh loose and we'll
And Charlie loose.
and Justin and Marie and 3C and Ichabod and Kazzrie and Joel and everybody else. That's what it is. And then we just pass it forward. We pass it forward humbly, because we're humble before God. We're penitent. We're the penitent man, humble before God. So it's not hard, folks. It isn't. It isn't.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's really, the truth is so simple, and we just have to get simple again. If it's complicated, it's not the truth, and that's just the way it is, it's amazing, because simple is best. But yeah, this was a fantastic show. I'm truly in so much gratitude for all of you joining us today. Truly, truly, truly so grateful to have a community of such hungry individuals who are just ready for the truth and ready to learn. And yeah, so grateful to be in the presence of you wonderful souls. But yeah, just a quick reminder for anyone who wants to be on one of these shows. The form to fill out is in the show notes. So make sure to fill that out and get that submitted so that I can put you on the queue for one of these shows upcoming. And for anyone here on the show, if you didn't already submit and you would like me to include any links or information for you in the show notes, please get that to me. And then Sunday's show, just another reminder, we're going to have our community decode of the song of Steely Dan's the song Charlie Freak. So if you'd like to jump on to that show, it's open to any and everyone who wants to take a whirl at that song. Just shoot me an email at innerstandingtruth@gmail.com and let me know you want to be on the show, and we'll get you on there. It should be a fantastic show to go over. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, just wanted to thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we love you so much. We truly do love you all so much, and we'll see you next time.
And we want you to just keep jumping in, all of you, like everyone who was here today. You have so much to say, and the goal of this is that I will do less and less and less shows, and you will take up the slack, and you will do more and more and more shows. And just look at you here. Look at who's on the show today. Look at who's in the chat. You can do this. You can do this. So we want you to keep jumping in, keep coming back, do more and more of these. Join in. That's why Marie's doing her Miraculous Mondays. That's why Justin does his Telegram chat group night and whatnot. That's why we're doing these, because we want to hand the reins over to you. So keep coming back. Share the brilliance. And we heard it all from all of you today. Joel, I don't think I've met you before on video before, but just incredibly impressed with your words and thoughts and the ideas that are flowing within you. And so this is the whole idea, is to give you this platform so that you can run with it. Aaron is creating his own channel. Justin's channel is maybe Marie and Justin's channels are maybe the best on YouTube, and Aaron's creating a channel, and that's what we want for you guys. And then when you do, Siobhan and Sinead, great channels, and Joanne, that's right, yeah. And then Lonnie. When you need us, Lonnie, that's right, Life Birth Mentor Lonnie. So when you need us on there, we'll make time to be on there as best we can for you, because that's what this is all about. And we want you to do this. So it's not about Charlie Freak. It's not about Charlie Freak. That's the sort of the secret to the song Charlie Freak tomorrow on Sunday night. the secret to the song is that it's not about the individual. It's something more than that. If you're looking for the decode in that song in the physical realm, you won't find it. It's in the metaphysical realm. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and we love you so much. Justin is so sincere. Marie are so sincere when they say those things to you. We really mean it.
Truly.
We
Love
care.
y'all so much. Yeah, so much love. All right, guys.
So beautiful.
Yeah, thank you all for
Thank
being
you, Joel. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, 3C. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Kazzrie, Ichabod. We love you all so much. Thank you, everyone in the chat. And yeah, let's stay in touch.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's stay in touch.
Yeah, happy resurrection.
Yeah.
Such thing as Easter. There's Passover. And we didn't touch upon it today, but Passover is where death passes you over and you live forever. And that's all you have to do is you just have to put melatonin into your bloodstream. And melatonin only comes through the pineal gland. It's all about the pine cone. It's all about the resin. It's build it and he will come. You know, build it and he will come. And that is eternal life. God's eternal. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. So just if you want to live forever, then you connect with God because he's the God of the living. That's what's being said. We just finished Matthew and that show was incredible. We're going into Revelations and we are going to blow minds away because they didn't mince words in Revelations. It's all about Passover in Revelation. It's all about Passover and how you live forever. God is the God of the living, not of the dead. You want to join Satan and become a Satanist and all that, you're going to die. Because that's the electrical left brain. And
Death
you want to
eaters.
live forever, then you have to connect to God. And God is eternal. He's the God of the living, not of the dead.
the mother.
Right? He said to Matthew in the book of Matthew said, I'll join up with you guys later. I got to go bury my father. And Jesus coldlessly, heartlessly, because, that's Jesus, says, Matthew, no, you keep coming with us because, God is the God of the living. Let the dead bury the dead, and God is the God of the living. You come with us. Oh my God, you're so heartless, Jesus. You make a choice in life. You make a choice. Primavera.
See you soon.
Yeah, see y'all next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing your
Much
notes.
love to all of you.
Yeah, we love you all.
Love y'all so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye, guys.